Hi y'all, good morning. If you want to see a beautiful sunrise, you better look quick because that sun is going behind them clouds and that's about as good as it's going to get today. But hopefully the fishing's going to make up for the lack of beauty in the sunrise because we're about to get after it, y'all. We're going to do some catfishing today, some shallow water catfishing at that. I'm just kind of making my way right up here. We're going to start above this creek. This is a small, shallow creek that dumps into the river channel here, and this section of the river is relatively shallow compared to a lot of the places I fish. It's 16 feet right here where we're at. So we get some takedowns today. They are going to be massive. It's going to be a good time. But I'm going to just get us right up here above this. We're going to drop our baits down and then we're going to go for a drift today. We're just going to work our way downriver here. The river makes a bend, and we're just going to take the outside bend and just kind of work it downstream and see what we run into, and hopefully run into some big fish, y'all. I didn't fish this area at all last week because I was working on that tournament trip in Alabama. We'll discuss it today. But the week before, I had come out here and busted several big fish. I mean, wasn't getting good numbers, wasn't getting a lot of fish, but every bite I was getting was a whopper, man. I mean, there were some big cats in here. So I'm excited to see today what we have going on here. Is it going to be more fish? Is it going to be bigger fish? Will we get bit at all? I don't know, but we're gonna find out. So let's get me some bait here. I've got us some shad to use today. Bear with me a second here, folks. I'm having trouble getting my bag open. There we go. Now we're cooking with Crisco. We're just gonna take a gizzard shad. I'm gonna pretty much cut him in half. We'll cut that tail off, and then we're gonna use a head bait and a chunk. We're fishing 2 rods today. I am going to suspend both of them. We'll just fish vertically, have these baits a couple feet off the bottom, so we'll adjust them as we move along, but the depth through here is going to be pretty consistent. We're not going to have to do a lot of adjusting as we go down. So this right here, Carolina rig. These are small hooks, especially for the size of the fish that we could potentially catch today, but they work on these bigger fish. But that's a #1 size Kale style hook, a shiner hook, 15-pound fluoro, swivel, 2-ounce egg sinker. I've got 15-pound braid for my main line. Look right here on the screen, you see that? Have some larger marks right there under us, man. So we'll drop that down. This other one here is the same setup, just different rod. The one on the left is a prototype rod from Catfish Sumo, a light tackle catfish rod. And this one here is just an ugly stick. Got Daiwa BG 4000 size reels on both. We're gonna send that chunk down, and I think what I'm gonna do today, folks, is leave the camera running. Boy, that was a big splash over yonder. We've got some activity out here today, buddy. There is some surface feeding going on. I don't know what they are. It could be carp or buffalo or striper, who the heck knows, man. You see a lot of stuff in these springtime mornings just coming up, big splashes. And there's another one right out there. Unless you just happen to be looking right that way, you don't always know what they are. But no, my plan today, y'all, is leave the camera running. I'm gonna fish for 2 or 3 hours. We got mosquitoes flying. Boy, it's way too early for mosquitoes, but here we are. I'm gonna fish for 2 or 3 hours. The wind is supposed to kind of ramp up mid-morning on, and when it starts to blow, I'm getting the heck out of here. I got some other stuff I need to do today, but we're gonna try to bust some big fish in the meantime. And since this is gonna be a short trip regardless today, big splash right there. Y'all don't want to look at my face. Let me just put the camera here, that way if something big comes up, maybe we can get a look at it. But I'm just going to leave it rolling. Y'all going to see everything from right now when we're trying to watch a sunrise, although it's too cloudy over there to see, to dropping baits down, to every fish we catch, to every snag we catch, to who the hell knows? This is a real fishing trip, man. You're gonna see it all from start to end. There's just so much life here in front of this creek. I'm really wondering what these are. I wonder if it's carp. I don't know, but there's just a ton of stuff happening over here. It'd be interesting to know. I'm hoping to do some more carp trips this spring here, and I may run one this coming weekend. Get out and see what I can find. My first carp trip of the year was a success. I caught 2 buffalo and a carp, but the numbers wasn't really there like you typically get as we get warmer water and they start moving up and getting ready to spawn and stuff. So I'm curious to get back out there and try it again. But anyway, y'all, we're gonna try to bust some big cats this morning. I want to have some fun on this light tackle today and try to bust some big fish. I want to try to get some redemption from myself here. Boy, the Alabama tournament trip, y'all. Whew, I got my hind end handed to me down there. I can't even blame it on a single mistake. I made a series of mistakes from pre-fishing to tournament day. Pretty much every decision I made was wrong. My thought process was wrong. I overthought the whole situation. I was in the wrong place, doing the wrong thing. Everything that I could have done, here's a scenario for you. If I had gone out, if you had told me, Justin, I want you to go out on tournament day and put baits in the water, but do everything you can to lose. Intentionally try to not catch fish and lose this tournament. If you had told me to go do that, I think I would have still done better than what I'd done actually going out and trying to do well. It was the worst tournament performance of any catfish tournament I've ever done. And I don't even know what the hell I was thinking. Looking back on it, I can't even now. Of course, hindsight's always 20/20, but I can't even rationalize all the mistakes that I made. Is that a fish? I think that was a fish. Our depth's still the same. We had a little tug there, didn't we? I'm excited here, folks. All this life here. I think we're going to bust something. But, yeah, tournament, the Alabama tournament down there on Pickwick, total disaster for me. The good news is we've set the bar low, so any other tournaments we fished this year, we've got a very low base. Anything we do is going to be an improvement from where we've started. And to add insult to injury, the tournament ends, and the last spot I finished up on, I had pulled up on the bank, and the tournament's a few minutes away from ending. I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and reel up and get out of here, because by that point in time, I knew even if I hooked a fish, I wasn't gonna be able to land it and submit it to the leaderboard before the tournament ended. So I was reeling up, and I get to my very last rod that I'm reeling in, and I go to pick up on it, and I'm like, oh, there's weight on here, what the heck? And then it takes off on me, starts fighting. So I turn the camera back on, because I'd already filmed my closing segment. It was over. And I reel in my biggest fish of the day by a country mile is a big flathead, 37 inches. And I look at my phone to check the time, it's 3:02, and tournament ended at 3 o'clock. And so, what an insult to injury after all that. But it was nice to at least get a big flathead. It was a consolation prize, I guess. And the flathead wouldn't have helped me in the tournament. It would have not won the big fish prize, and it would have moved me up a few spots on the leaderboard. I finished like 10th place, I think. I think that fish would have moved me up to 5th or 6th place, something like that. So I wouldn't have cashed either way. I just, would have got like a little, moral victory, I guess. You know, it would have helped me beat a few more people in the tournament, basically. But wouldn't have helped me in the wallet where it really matters as far as tournament goes. But yeah, man, just totally doo-dooed the bed in the tournament. I went down and practiced. I drove down on Tuesday morning, and the time I got down there was about lunchtime. So I fished from lunch till dark on Tuesday afternoon. Got a hotel, spent the night, fished Wednesday morning for a few hours, and then drove home. And then I went back down Friday evening, did our tournament check-in, spent the night, and then, of course, the tournament there on Saturday. But in my 2 pre-fishing sessions, I stunk it up. Tournament day, I stunk it up. I just, it just wasn't my event, y'all. So hopefully the next one goes better. The next tournament for the National Trail is in May on Nickajack. And there's a couple other tournaments prior to that with a different tournament trail called Catyackers up in Ohio. I may go up for one of those. We'll see. They add $2,000 to the pot in the Catyackers trail before any entry fees go in. So there's a lot more money to compete for in those events, but it's a long drive to fish waters that aren't particularly exciting for me when I can drive a much smaller, shorter distance south in the other direction and have much better quality fish potential. So I'm not too excited about it, but I may go do one. We'll see. I'm gonna just kind of slide us over just a little bit closer to this ledge here. I wanna work this ledge as we drift down. Current flow this morning, very, very light. We're barely moving down through here. We may have to end up kind of supplementing our speed. I'm not too concerned about covering a great distance of water this morning. I just want to be, I want to be catching some fish. Like I said, man, when I was out here the week before last, I did 3 sessions out here, kind of just working my way. I'd fish an area, next trip come out, pick up kind of where I left off, and keep making the way downriver, and caught fish on every session. But it's not a numbers bite right now. It's not. I don't anticipate we're going to have a 30 fish day. Like we're not, unless things have just really changed in the week that I ain't been out here. But the 4, 5, 6 fish I was getting on those sessions were all great quality, man. They were all big fish. There was no, you're not catching dinks. Not like I caught when I went to Alabama, man. These were really big fish. And I think they're just kind of on the move. We've had a warmer spring here. It's been things have warmed up very quickly here in the South, man. We by the end of February, we were having a lot of 60-degree days, 70-degree days in some instances, and it's really got the water temps moved up quick. And I think it's got the fish on the move. They're working their way upriver. And it almost seems like we're about a month ahead of schedule right now on where fish are at and what they're doing. So I'm curious to see how that plays out the rest of spring. Will we have another cool down and kind of pump the brakes? Will we just kind of skip spring altogether and go straight into summer? That happens sometimes. Hell, it'll be 90 degrees by May sometimes around here. You just never can tell. Every year is different. But so far, where our water temps are at and where the fish are at, it seems to be about a month ahead. At least with the catfish anyway. I can't speak for the other fish species. But man, if we come out here today and we fish for 2 or 3 hours and bust 2 or 3 trophy class fish, I'm cool with that. Now, I don't know how well that makes for a video like this, where I'm leaving the camera rolling the whole time if there's not a bunch of action. I mean, typically if I'm doing this style of video, I want stuff going on. I want rod, boy, another big splash right there. Still don't know what they are. But I mean, typically if I'm gonna do a unedited, uncut style of video, you'd like to have rods going down left and right, some excitement and whatnot. But in reality, man, when you're fishing, you're gonna have some days like that where you're just right place, right time, rods go down nonstop. But for the most part, you're gonna be hoping to grind out some bites. And that's the reality of fishing. Those of you that actually fish know this. I mean, people that don't fish, and of course I don't know how many people don't fish that actually watch these videos, but I mean, that's just reality of it. You're not going to have lights out days every trip unless you do something like, I mean, if you go ultralight fishing and you're just throwing small baits and beating the banks and brush piles and stuff like that, sure, you can go out. I mean, I have 50 to 100 fish trips all the time when I ultralight fish, just from the type of fish we're after. When you're using small hooks and small baits and going after anything that bites, and you're willing to catch 50 bluegill and a few bass and other species and whatnot, well, yeah, I mean, you can get on that kind of bite all the time, just about, at least spring through fall and the warmer months and stuff. But when you're going after large fish, and I know the tackle, some of you are probably looking at the tackle today and think, well, Justin, you're not really going after big fish with that, but we are. We absolutely are. But when you are going after big fish, you're just not going to have those high number days oftentimes. Now, if we were to get on some smaller cats, and we could, honestly, I don't know why the small ones weren't here when I was here before. Like, I don't know why it was big fish only. I don't know. But I mean, our tackle setup will allow for those smaller fish to not only eat our baits, but eat the hooks too. That's a thing sometimes when you're using really big baits or just really big hooks. Sometimes you may get bit, but the fish won't be able to hook up. They won't be able to either get the bait in their mouth or get the hook in their mouth. They'll just be kind of nipping. You'll see your rods getting pecked and stuff. And so you're getting bites, you're just not catching them. Well, with our setup today, if we get those smaller fish bites, we will be able to get them in. And they'll be more fun to catch on the lighter action rods too, versus the heavier gear that I normally use. But that's if we get on some small fish. And based on what we experienced out here before, I just don't know that that's going to be the case. I think there's just big fish moving up first. And now who knows, maybe a month from now, if we come back and try this area again, I'll just raise those baits up there a little bit. We're 16 feet deep here now, so I had to raise them up a smidge. If we were to come back out, say a month or so, maybe these big fish have moved on, and now maybe this area has small fish in it. I don't know. That's one of the things we'll just have to kind of see. I mean, if I can keep catching some big fish here, well, guess what? I'm probably going to keep coming back until they quit biting. It's one of them things about doing YouTube that it's a constant tug of war, I guess, in your mind, where it's like, on one hand, when you're filming videos, you kind of want to offer the audience variety, different techniques, different locations, different setups, just kind of offer something different every video. But at the same time too, the number one goal is to have fun and catch fish and try to catch some big fish. And so when you get on a good, right here, we got one. Oh, buddy. Fish number one right in front of this creek. 16 feet deep. Oh, buddy. How far are we into the trip now? 20 minutes in? 20 minutes in, we got fish number one. Oh, he's going back down. Oh, that's fun, y'all. I wanted some drag pullers today, buddy. That's what we want. And with this gear, it don't take a big fish to get some drag pulling either. This one here does feel, he feels pretty decent. Right in front of this creek. I mean, directly in front of it. Yeah, that's a fun sizer here to start our day. Let's get him over here. One of y'all net this fish for me, would you? Come over here. Oh, Lord. Could have done without that. We could have done without that. He ain't ready, I reckon. We're just going to play him out here another minute. We'll take our sweet-ass time with him. That one ate the body section of that shad. Here comes a boat up this way too. Hopefully he don't see us reeling in this fish. Unless it's an old bass fisherman, then they won't care. Got him. Oh yeah, nice one, buddy. Nice fish right there. Here's what I'm gonna do real fast though, folks. I need to do two things. I'm gonna turn the motor on. I'm gonna get over here in front of this creek again. This fish has pulled us off because I don't want this boat coming up here and cutting us off. And we gotta turn into the sun so we can hold this fish up and give him his moment of fame. Okay, let's get our camera mount set up here. All right. Let me see where this hook's at on this fish. Ooh, boy, did you see that? Oh, that's another hook. That right there ain't mine, folks. That's a small hook, but it ain't mine. That looks like a crappie hook. Like a bait holder hook right there, of some kind. Set that up there. There's our hook. How far? This guy's gonna come right over here, get on top of us, I guess. Hold on a second, let me get this out of the way. You heading up in there? No, you go ahead. Okay. I'm just gonna fish around that. Doing any good? Well, I got one right here in my hand. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna get myself a picture with it here. I don't know. I never weigh them. Around, didn't it? Yeah, he towed me around a little bit. It's a good time. That's a lot of fun out of it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Better than both. He's a wild one. Yeah. Boy, he's an ornery one. Nice. All right, fish, get on. Boy, done tore me up too. Danged old fish. All right. Let's get this net out of the way and get rebaited. All right, let's get another one. Put another body section on, get that tail. Get them fins off there. My damn thing tore my thumb up good. Rebaited. Slime everywhere on that line too. All right, back down it goes. Drop it down. Ooh, we gotta move off a little bit here. Okay. Let's put that back in the cooler too. Let's get spun back around here. All right, y'all. I've already had to expend all of my social energy already today. He's a nice enough feller, but it's like there's two of us out here today, and of course we're both going to be right in front of the same damn creek. Never fails. Never fails. Two people on the water, and it's like magnets just drawn to each other. Hopefully he'll move on quick though. Y'all know I don't like talking to camera around people and stuff. It bothers me. I don't know why it does. It just does. And then sometimes those people think I'm talking to them, and then I have to engage in more conversation, and I just don't. I'm not a conversationalist, at least with other people. Boy, that fish got a hold of my thumb. I ain't been wearing a glove lately since I've been using the net. I used to wear a glove all the time because I would be hand grabbing fish when I get them up the surface. But when I started doing the light tackle, I had to use a net because the light line there, if I try to grab it and that fish starts rolling and acting a fool, he's going to snap that line. It ain't like when I'm using my heavy gear and can just grab my leader, which is normally in my heavy gear, I'm using 80-pound leader, so that fish can thrash and roll all he wants. It ain't gonna break the line or bend a hook or anything. But with the lighter line, I have to be more conscious of it, so I started carrying a net. And once you net the fish and land it and stuff, and he's kind of tired out, it's not like they're usually just not as mean like that, you know. So I haven't needed the glove. And so I ain't been wearing it, but that one right there made me regret not wearing it. Got me all tore up and stuff. That's a good problem to have, though. We got fish number one. It's a pretty good fish. Got us on the board just a few minutes in. We already got rebaited and back on the move here. That fella there, he's going to work his way up in that creek there. Yeah, this situation, like, you know, that guy, I mean, him and I, we're doing different styles of fishing. We're not in each other's way. It's just, y'all know how I am. I don't like being around people when I'm on the water, and it's like, you've got a section of river here that has numerous creeks coming into it, and there's two of us on the water. We just shouldn't be on top of each other at any point. Like if I was coming up through here, I wouldn't even stop to ask if he was going to go in that creek. If I wanted to go in there, I'd just go on. And that's with me being in a kayak, you know, not like a boat that you can just go to the next creek in a couple minutes. So, whatever, it don't matter. Ain't going to affect our day. Just affects my comfortability shooting the breeze here, shooting the bull on this camera while I've got people around me. There's a couple big, look at that, man. Look at that. 17 feet. I'm just kind of moving us back up here a little bit closer to this ledge here. We're just going to try to, the contours, you can see they're kind of all jumbled up here. You've got some deeper holes kind of down in here, but the ledge where it kind of drops off the land coming down at an angle, it kind of starts to peter out right up in here. And so this is kind of the path we want to follow today as we make our way down. But again, I don't care how much water we cover today. I really don't. If we're catching fish, I'm content not really covering great distance at all. If we supplement our speed, we can cover more water, but we're going to be ahead of the current, so we're not going to have our scent kind of getting out in front of us and stuff, which don't really necessarily matter. I mean, I've caught a bunch of fish trolling on days where we don't have any flow, but it is always nice if fish can kind of lock on your bait before you get into them. So we'll just keep drifting along for now, and if this ain't panning out, we can supplement our speed if we have to. But I mean, when we're 20 minutes in and already hooked up to a big fish, I'm pretty content with doing what we're doing for the time being. But anyway, like I was trying to say there before that fish interrupted, Doomaflotch over here started talking to us. I am always in a constant battle, a tug of war in my mind as to what I should do. On one hand, you think, well, do I want to go out today and offer variety and try to offer a different technique or style of fishing and educational purposes, I guess, you know, try to teach something different or how to fish a different area or spot or body of water, et cetera, et cetera. But then the other part of me, the fisherman in me that gets on a good bite wants to come back out and just keep pounding those fish till the bite subsides. And because, I mean, let's be real, that's what most people would do, right? I mean, if you're on, so let's say you don't do any kind of social media, no YouTube, TikTok, none of that crap. You're a hardcore fisherman. Well, if you get on a good bite and you're going fishing the next day, are you just going to give up that good bite? Are you going to go back to it? You're probably going to go back to it. I think most people would. Unless there's just something else you're really wanting to do or try or whatever. And so that's kind of me too. Like, I mean, if I'm on a good bite, I want to ride it out. And the other thing with what I do is because these videos get thousands of views, if I'm on a good bite and there's some landmark or something noticeable around me, and of course, I always show the graph too. I mean, I'll show you the contour map. I show people exactly where I'm at. But like if somebody can look at a background and be like, oh, I know where he's at. And then they can look at my graph and see exactly how I've fished an area or set up on a spot. Then the areas where I'm catching fish, they get pounded too. By other people, not just me. And I've had enough places through the years that have just been ruined, honestly, because of overpressure. Oh, that was a carp that come up right there. I saw that one. I was looking that way. But spots have just been ruined from being overfished. Now I'm not saying necessarily it's all because people saw those places in my videos and just started fishing. It could be just we have more cat fishermen now than ever before. More people have gotten into it, and more people are learning how to do it and reading maps and stuff and picking spots. So it could just be, some of it could be from my videos, some of it could just be from coincidence. I have ran into people and they've flat out told me, oh man, I saw you fishing this spot and I went out there and I caught this, you know. So I mean, it happens. But I've had places in the past that people that are longtime viewers of my channel, you've seen me fish areas and caught good fish, and then now you don't ever see me fish those places anymore. Well, why is that? It's because, well, I'll tell you a spot right now in Fort Loudon, right off the top of my head. I used to go this time of year and get big fish, like clockwork. But the last few years, it's been awful. And that's when I've just got to fish there. Some of the times I've went trying to fish there, I can't because there's people on it. And that's just part of it, man. When people figure out about these fish, they're not, it's not like they're changing their behavior all the time. If you get on a bite during a certain time of year or during certain conditions or certain water temperatures or whatever, that pattern will oftentimes repeat itself year after year after year. And if you are the only person taking advantage of that bite, well, great. You just hit it every year. But if 30 people are hitting that bite and a bunch of fish are getting stuck left and right, and a lot of them are getting taken out there or killed or whatever, then the fish will, either a spot will get cleaned out, or fish will get a little bit conditioned, or they'll change their behavior and stop going there. I mean, if enough fish get sore-lipped, then they just, I mean, they're not the smartest creatures on planet Earth, but they're not the dumbest either. It's kind of like a human. You as a kid, maybe you put your hand on a hot stove, you get burned, you know very quickly, don't put your hand on a hot stove again, right? Like you learn, you get conditioned. Fish are kind of the same way. Now you see that more, you see it more with bass fishing, for instance. Like some of my bass fishing friends will tell you, a new lure comes out, fish have never seen it before, they just slay the fish with it. They just catch tons of fish on that particular lure. But once everybody starts throwing it, and they've been throwing it 6 months, a year, well, now that lure, it'll still work, it'll still catch fish, but it's not as dominant as it was when it was first come out and the fish had never seen it or felt it or whatever. I mean, we've seen that with a ton of lures. But to think that catfish would be any different, I mean, maybe not as much so, because as catfishermen, we're usually using cut bait or live bait, things that these fish are naturally eating anyway. But as far as the presentations and how you are feeding those pieces of cut bait or live bait to the catfish, I think they can probably figure out and get conditioned not to do it. So it's one of them things. Anyway, just circling back to the main point, it's like every day I leave the house, I have to make a decision. Do I want to try to film a video for educational purposes and try to make it more of a variety and yada, yada, yada? Or do I want to go after the best bite I can while I can and ride it out? And that might mean me filming a few videos in a row in the same area or doing the same thing or something like that. So it's one of those balancing acts. You know, you do need a good mix and whatnot, but I just feel like, especially when I'm doing these style of videos, we're just rolling, letting the camera run, it's like, this is as close to a real fishing trip as a person can get without being on a real fishing trip. I mean, you see literally everything. And part of that is a day like today where I'm coming out here, having fished this area week before last on 3 trips. It's like, well, if we were really fishing together in real life, if you were out here with me, this is where we would come, man. This is what we'd be doing right now. And probably do it again until the bite subsides. We'll go somewhere else, try something else, try to get on it a different area. But I just, man, I was actually thinking about this on the way home from Alabama. I had a conversation down there with a couple guys, our tournament director and another buddy, Kyle, down there. He finished 3rd place in the tournament, but we were talking, and those guys are really big on bumping. They've really gotten into it. And so they've got huge kayaks with giant bow mount motors. I think Kyle's got like a 100-pound thrust motor or something. I mean, it's a big one of them big Minn Kotas. It's a heavy motor. But he got that new Wilderness Systems kayak and put it on there. And our tournament director, Kayak Mike, he's got a Bonafide, and I can't remember what motor he's got on his. It's like a 24 volt or 36 volt though. I mean, it's a huge bow mount, but they'll get up there below the dam in the swifter water and they'll bump. They'll face their motor into the current, cut the speed down about half. So if the current's 6 miles an hour, they'll try to use the motor to go to about 3 miles an hour, and they'll just sit there and work that bait, bouncing it downstream, right? Those guys love it. They absolutely love fishing that way. And look at it, well, hold on right there. Look at that right there, folks. Right there by our baits, we got some fish right now, 17 feet. I'm hoping one of these rods go down. But, you know, those guys love doing that. That's a technique it's very fun for them. Personally, I don't really like bumping. I've tried it there on my buddy Mark Naraki's boat. I've got videos of me doing some vertical jigging for both blues and flatheads and caught some. I think that video or videos was from 2017, 2018. I mean, they're older videos, but I mean, I had success doing it. And it's fun when you get bit. But what I don't enjoy is that motion, just having to actively work a bait all daggone day. Like if you're not getting bit, it just ain't fun. And in order to do it, you have to be in a big kayak with a huge motor, because I mean, you got to be able to cut your speed down in the current flow. And you're up there in a swift water, and you're oftentimes below the dams and stuff where you got a million people. And again, when I go fishing, man, I want to be left the hell alone. Like I'm hopefully not going to see anybody on the water when I go fishing. That's what I'm hoping for. So it's just not my cup of tea, but those guys are super into it. They're super passionate about it. And you can just tell when you talk to them, like they're excited about it. And I was thinking on the way home, it's like, what is it for me that gets me excited nowadays? Like when I get up out of bed and I'm going fishing today, like what gets the juices flowing? What makes me excited to come out here and catch some fish? Well, it ain't bumping. It's not dragging. It's not pulling up on the bank here and casting baits out. It's this right here. Catching big fish on the lighter action rods. That's exciting, man. The drag pulling, the curiosity of how big a fish could I land on the lighter gear and these tiny ass hooks. How big can I do? How big of a catfish could I land in this glorified paddleboard that I'm on, this Hobie Lynx kayak? How big a fish can I get? Like that gets me go. That's exciting to me. And I've kind of come to the realization that like it's really the only way I want to catfish anymore. Like I'm down there in the tournament, you know, and on tournament day, I mean, you got to catch fish. You got 8 hours. You just got to do what you got to do to catch fish. You may have to do stuff you don't want to do to catch fish, but the goal on tournaments is to, you know, at least in our tournaments anyway, get the 3 longest fish. So you got to do what you got to do to get that done. But I'm out there on tournament day, for instance, and I'm just doing stuff I don't want to do, that I'm not that excited about, all just to try to win the tournament. And it's like, if you win or you cash and you turn a profit on the day, well, that's good. That's exciting. It's always fun to win. Who doesn't want to win? Everybody wants to win. And so when you do win, it kind of makes up for the fact that maybe you spent a day fishing doing something that you didn't really get excited about. But on a normal, regular day like we have here where we're just going fishing, hell, I just don't want to do really anything else except for this. And it's like, if I wasn't doing YouTube, take YouTube out of the equation. Everything I said about needing variety and mixing things up and blah, 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 throw all that out. If I was just going fishing, no tournaments, no YouTube, none of that crap, just, if I'm going catfishing, what do I want to do? This right here would be probably all I ever done ever again. It'd probably be it. Now, I might do some days where I'm drifting, some days where I'm anchored, but it would be suspending baits with light tackle rods. This is what I would do, because this excites me. This is what I enjoy the most about catfishing right now. And so then it turns into, it's like, well, if this is what I want to do and this is what excites me, is this what I should just film all the damn time? Now, I do film a lot of videos where I'm suspend fishing because it's my favorite way to fish. And so I do it the most and therefore film it the most. But like, what if I just never done anything else ever again? I mean, sure, don't get me wrong, like I'm gonna do other styles of fishing. Like I'm gonna do ultralight fishing because I love that. I'm gonna do carp fishing because I love that. I'm gonna go to the ocean there when I go on vacation and stuff, do that. Like there'll be some mixture of types of fish on the channel. But like for catfishing purposes, like what if I just never done anything else ever again but this? Like would it just totally wreck everything? Would it totally wreck the channel? And if it did, would I even care at this point? I don't know. But this is what I'm most into. This is what excites me. I'm fascinated to see what I can catch. Like, starting back, it was, I guess, last summer when I kind of started doing the light tackle stuff more. And as time went on, I've kind of gotten over I've gotten over the fear of losing a big fish because of the lighter gear. It's a reality. It's going to happen from time to time. But we're not breaking off or straightening hooks like with the frequency that I thought we would. I mean, I haven't straightened out a hook yet, for instance, but like even breaking off, like we're just not breaking off very often like I thought we probably would. And so I've gained a ton of confidence in doing this, in that if I do hook a fish that's way too big for this tackle, I'm still going to be able to get it in. Take my time, play the fish out, use the net to land it. Like I'm going to have an opportunity to have success if I hook into a big fish on this stuff. I just gained a lot of confidence in it. And so what started out as just kind of a fun thing to play around with has really turned into I wouldn't call it an obsession, but like there is a real curiosity with me to be like, how big a fish could I land on this gear? How big a fish could I get into this kayak? And it's just what I want to do. And then the funny thing is, it's like, you go down there on tournament day, pre-fishing for the tournament and stuff, and I'm doing the things that I think I need to do to catch the most fish and biggest fish and whatnot. And of course, as I told you, my thought process was totally wrong. I couldn't have botched it any worse than I did, both pre-fishing and tournament day. But the thing was, Aaron won the tournament, Aaron Grubb. I didn't ask him what he was doing. There was another carp come up right there, I saw it. But Brandon Hunter, Fins and Talons YouTube channel, he finished second place and Kyle finished third. And I asked both of those guys, what did they do to catch their fish? They were suspended baits. They were using heavier tackle than what we're using today, but they were doing this right here in a different area than what I was fishing at. But like, I sat out there on pre-fishing day and I mean, I had a conversation with you through the camera and be like, I know I'm not going to be able to suspend on tournament day because the wind was going to be really bad. And I get out there on tournament day, and the wind, it wasn't as bad as anticipated, but it was still, it was blowing more than what I would have wanted to suspend baits in. Like, I just, historically, I've never done good in choppy conditions. But yet those guys went out there in choppy conditions, suspending baits, and not only caught fish, but caught way more fish than me and cashed in the tournament. And it's like, I wasted a day doing stuff that I wasn't excited about and didn't really want to do just to try to cash in a tournament, which I ultimately failed at. And that's a day of my life I'm never going to get back. And the older I get, the more the realization is that, you know, I don't want to get all doom and gloom on you here, because I do that way too much in these unedited videos here. We always turn it morbid somehow, it seems like. But I mean, we are all running out of days. I don't know how many more trips I got in me. Hell, I could have a car wreck and die on the way home today. This could be it. Something could happen to somebody in my family. Maybe, you know, maybe I got to take care of them. You never know what could happen that could change your life for the better or the worse. I mean, we're talking doom and gloom right now, but I mean, things happen all the time. Every person, this is a statistic that a friend of mine quoted me one time. And I don't know where she got this information from, but it was, she said it with confidence, so I believed it. So that's the thing, folks. Even if you're quoting statistics, just say it with confidence. Even if you don't have scientific proof to back it up, just say it with confidence. People will believe you. But she said it with confidence, and I believed her. But she said, on average, a human being will have a life-altering event once every 10 years. So you do the math and you figure the average person lives to, what, 78, 79 is the average lifespan of a human right now. So you're going to have 7 to 8 life-altering events throughout your lifetime on average. Could be good or bad. Could be you get married. That's a life-altering event. You get divorced, life-altering event. You have a child, life-altering. You have somebody really close to you die. A parent, a child, a spouse. Nobody ever fully recovers from that. Like you move on, you keep living, but the fabric of your being is changed after that. Like you don't, when somebody that close to you dies, part of you dies with them, right? That's life altering. Maybe you have a major health issue or injury of some kind. That's life altering. Maybe you hit the damn lottery. That's life altering. But bottom line is, we all, throughout our life, are going to have a handful of just life-altering moments, and you never know when they're going to happen. You never know when that day is coming. And the older you get, and I'm certainly past the halfway point now myself here, 44, I've still hopefully got a lot of good years left in me. I'm certainly hoping. I'm going to try to live as long as I can, as healthy as I can. But every day that we move forward in this life, we're one day closer to the end and one day closer to the next life-altering event that may or may not be a good thing for us. So you never know when your last fishing trip is coming, when your last vacation with your wife and kids is coming. Like, you just never know. So you got to make the most of every day possible. And I'm fortunate doing this YouTube crap for a living here. I get to fish way more than the average person, but it's still, I don't want to ever get to a point where I take it for granted because the day is going to come at some point where I never get to do this again, or I don't get to do it in such a way that I want to do it. So taking all of that into account, all of that back to the original point is, it's like, this is what I like to do. This is what I want to do. This is effective, not always the most effective technique at all times, but it works. And it's like, shouldn't I just do what I want to do all the damn time? Like, I mean, that's the goal of life, right? Everybody's always searching for the meaning of life. I don't know what the meaning of life is, but the goal in life for me, and I think pretty much everybody on planet Earth, when you break it down to its simplest form, I mean, sure, everybody's got different goals, career goals, family goals, personal goals. Like, everybody's going to have different things that they're working towards in life. But when you break it down to its simplest form and you ask people, like, what is it that you truly want? If you could lay out your life in a book form, what would it be? I think all of us, I would say 100%, 100 out of 100 would say that you just want to be able to wake up in the mornings completely healthy, knowing you're healthy and safe, your family is healthy and safe, and you be able to do whatever it is that's going to make you the happiest on that day. If you can do that, that's the way to live, man. Healthy and doing whatever's going to make you the happiest that you can possibly be on that day. The more days you can have like that, the better your life is going to be. And so what happens, though, is real life gets in the way of that. To do what's going to make you the happiest on any particular day, well, maybe that takes time. Maybe that takes money. Maybe you don't have time or money. I mean, you got basic needs. You need food, you need shelter, you need water. To get those things, you're probably going to need a job, so you're going to have transportation to get to your job. You're going to need uniforms for your job, maybe tools or supplies or whatever, depending on what you do. So then it becomes a sacrifice. You have to sacrifice your time of doing the things that you want to do in order to go do what you have to do to be able to support whatever lifestyle you have. And so to live a successful life, you hope to have more days where you do what you want to do than days where you don't. And depending on your stage of the life, wherever you're at, maybe it's more possible at certain stages than others. I'll tell you, for me personally, I mean, I went for pretty much my entire 20s was a blur. I worked. I was either working or crippled. Because, I mean, I was in school and working while I went to school. Because, I mean, I sure as hell wasn't getting no scholarships. Wasn't getting no government assistance money. So I had to pay my way, get through school, then I got to go to work because I got to pay off student loans and then try to build a life for myself. Ended up getting in a ton of debt, doing all that, keeping up with the Joneses, getting the house, the vehicle, the motorcycle, boat, like everything. Stupid mistakes. Getting a world of debt. Then I wrecked my fancy truck, crippled myself, broke my hip, pelvis, numerous places. I mean, I was out of commission for a while, which turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me, because it changed my life. I mean, it changed my life in the short term in the worst way possible, but in the long term, it changed my mentality with money specifically. When I was worried while I was injured there that I was going to lose the house, get the lights cut off, not be able to eat, all that, the trauma, the mental trauma from that fixed me. It fixed my debt problems. It fixed my spending problems, because once I was healed and able to work again, I was like, I got to make some changes. And I did. I took on more debt in the short term because I went back to school. But when I got out of school the second time and got to work, I changed my life. All my spending changed. Fancy vehicle, gone. Motorcycle, gone. Boat, gone. I mean, I cut expenses everywhere I could, and I went to work on getting out of debt. And I got out, and it took a lot of overtime. It took a lot of hours, but I done it. And I got out, I was 32. My house was my last debt, and I paid off my mortgage. I was 32. It was 12 years ago. And so I pretty much gave up from whenever I started college there, 18, however old I was, right out of school, from 18 to 32, I didn't have much of a life. I mean, don't get me wrong, I had some fun. I still go fishing, go on dates and stuff and whatnot, but like most of my time, the majority of my waking hours was spent working. The best years of my life, the most energy you'll ever have there in your 20s, I spent it on the job. But the gamble paid off. I mean, doing that, if I waste my entire 20s and then die at age 33, well, what a waste, man. But if you live a long, fruitful life, well, then getting out of debt and getting all that situated, it gives you a ton of free time. And that's how I was able to grow this YouTube channel. That's how I've been able, it gave me freedom. It gave me the freedom to do what I want when I want more. And that then opened up more opportunities for me and continues to open up opportunities for me. Just being able, having freedom is the best thing you can have on planet Earth. It's the best thing you can have. That's what money should buy. We get distracted. I mean, we're constantly marketed to. Social media, TV, radio, like everybody's trying to get our money. Everybody. You got to buy certain clothes to fit in, certain gadgets, new phones. In my world, it's a new kayak coming out every year, new fish finders, new fishing gear. Like there's just always just stuff. And it's being put in front of us, and the people on the TV commercials and social media commercials, they're smiling, they're happy. Like if you just had this Coca-Cola, if you just had this Nike tennis shoes, you're going to be so happy. That's what they portray. They sell you on happiness. So you go spend your money buying those objects, trying to achieve that happiness that you're seeing in these commercials and advertisements. But what I've come to find in my own life and experience is that real happiness doesn't come from physical objects, at least not all the time. I mean, sure, you buy something and you like it and you enjoy it. It's going to bring you some momentary happiness. You're going to have a little dopamine rush, right? Some excitement from that. Sure. So in that moment, you're going to be happy. But that, if you notice, if you really think about it, and you're just in your own life, think about something you've bought. Maybe it's something that you was working toward or saving up for, or something you were just really excited to get. How long did it really make you happy? Was it a few minutes, an hour, a few days? Like, happiness is fleeting, man, especially on physical objects. Like, the newness wears off, the excitement wears off, and you're on to the next thing. And the marketers know this. Like, they prey on that. That's why they're always coming out with new stuff. They're always after you to try to get the next dollar out of your pocket. And what I've come to realize in my own life, my own experience, is that true happiness comes from freedom. It's not from buying stuff. And I like buying stuff. Hell, I don't know, look how many damn wrestling figures I've bought in the last couple years since I've been going through my midlife crisis. And I enjoy opening every one of them. But then that wrestling figure sits on a shelf. And I've moved on. I've moved on to the next one. Because once that happiness from opening that new action figure, once it's happened, it's over. We're on to the next thing. But true happiness, man, when you can wake up when you want to wake up, not because you got to get up at 5:30 and go to work at a job you hate with people you don't want to be around, but when you can wake up and think, what do I want today? What's going to make me the happiest today? And go do that. That's true happiness, man. And that's what all of us should be working toward with our money. Like, and I mean, I was at my peak. I was $150,000 in debt, folks. Like, I mean, by age 25, I was $150,000 in debt. That's how dumb I was with money back in my youth. But it was all chasing, man. It was chasing what we were sold on as the American dream. That's what got me into the debt. Nobody sells you on freedom. Nobody says, well, the less you spend, the more you have, and nobody tells you that. It's always, well, you got to have this pair of shoes, or this brand of clothes, or this type of car, or this big a house. You got to have this, this, and this, because your neighbors and your friends and your family, they've got this, you got to have this, and they had it by age 25 or age 30, so you got to have it by age 24 or age 29. Like, you got to, and it just takes your mind off of what's important and puts it on something that's not. And unfortunately for me, it really took me getting crippled in a damn car wreck to put it all in perspective for me. But I'd already knew, even before I had the wreck, like, I knew I wasn't happy. I was working a job I hated and was paycheck to paycheck just to make minimum payments. I had a house and a fancy vehicle and motorcycle and boat and all this stuff, but I couldn't enjoy any of it. I was only at home to sleep. Couldn't enjoy being at the house because every waking hour I had to be at work to pay for it. So I was there to sleep. That fancy truck I had, it sat in a parking lot at work all day. The boat was sitting under a carport, unused. The motorcycle, unless I drove it to work, it wasn't getting used. It was sitting in a damn parking lot or under the carport. Like, it was, I had these fancy, nice things. I couldn't use them, but yet trying to pay for them was costing me everything. It was costing me my life. And, it took me getting crippled in a car wreck and physically not being able to work and bill collectors calling because they don't give a damn. You think Bank of America gives a shit that you can't work? They don't care your pelvis is broken, you can't stand up. Hell no, they don't give a damn. They want their money. They lent you that money and you agreed to pay X amount of dollars for so many months, and they expect you to follow through. And if you don't, they're going to foreclose on your house. They're going to come repo your vehicle. They own your ass at that point. You were owned by the bank. And that was the thing that was, I mean, every time I paid off, and I went on the Dave Ramsey plan, man, that's what got me out of debt. I followed his book, A Total Money Makeover, the baby steps, debt snowball, man, I followed it. And every time I would pay off a debt and student loan, I had 1 million student loans. So those were what I paid off first, because a lot of them would be $300 for books or whatever. You know, there were a lot of just small debts on those student loans. Every time you'd pay one off, it would be a feeling of satisfaction and a feeling of accomplishment. But the real satisfaction was when I made my final mortgage payment. Because not only was it the last of my debt, I was completely debt-free at that point, but it was also just an amazing feeling of just knowing that no matter what happened, no matter what happens going forward, no matter how difficult life gets, the bank can't take my house. As long as I can pay my property taxes. And you go through, you know, hell, you never really own your house. You go 3 years without paying your property taxes, the government's going to come in and auction it. They're going to take it from you. But it's like, if I was in that situation again and I got hurt again and I couldn't work, or if I got sick and I couldn't work, I was never going to have that fear that the house was going to be foreclosed on, that I was going to be sick or injured and not have a place to stay. That's an amazing feeling. It's indescribable, really. Like, and I mean, and I can still, I mean, it's not as powerful a feeling for me today because I'm so far removed from it. So it's much different now. I'm talking about it and I'm feeling the emotions from it. It's not as powerful as it was 12 years ago when I made that final payment. But it's still there. It's still there inside me. And it all goes back to just the freedom of it, just being free. That's what we should all be working toward. Now, when you get your freedom and you want the other stuff, sure, but freedom should come first. Don't make yourself a slave to the system for any object. It's just not worth it. You'll be sold on it being worth it. These companies, man, they're good. They know how to push our buttons. They know how to market to us and advertise to us. They know how to manipulate us. That's what it is. That's the real word for marketing. They should change that. Instead of calling it marketing, they should call it manipulation. You're manipulating someone to buy your good or service when you're marketing to them. I mean, that is the goal of every marketer, is to manipulate somebody into buying something, to get them to exchange their time for that product or service. Because that's what it is, it's time. We think, well, you spend money to buy a certain object or a service, right? But how'd you get that money? You probably sacrificed some time for it, at least early on. Now, you take the money you earn and you start investing it, and then your investments start paying you, well, that's different at that point. But early on, you're working a job in exchange for a paycheck. So you're exchanging your time for the paycheck. And time is the most precious, valuable thing we have. It is a limited commodity. We're all running out of it from the day we pop out of the womb and life begins. The clock starts ticking. You're running out. And some of us are going to get longer than others. And maybe with advancements in technology and medicine and all that, maybe the people who are being born today, maybe some of them will get a few extra years on the back end. but it's a precious limited commodity. And the more of it you can spend on yourself, doing what you want to do, what makes you happy, man, the better your life's going to be. So, yeah, that's a long, boy, I went way too long on that, y'all. I apologize. Nobody wants to hear this. Y'all are out here to go fishing, man. You don't give a damn about all that crap. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna switch out some baits. We've seen some stuff on the graph coming down through here, but I ain't getting bit right now. So let's just switch everything out. We'll do these are kind of smaller shad here, so I'm gonna do a head for one and do another body section on the other here. We've got plenty of bait today, for today anyway, I should say, at least for the number of fish we're getting so far. It's been definitely slow by. We got bit pretty quick. Their first thing got me excited. We've certainly seen a lot of life out here. I'm seeing, well, I mean, even look right here. I mean, there's another one right there on the bottom. Don't know what they are, but got me excited. But yet, we just ain't getting the bites. So we're going to switch up the bait. See if that'll improve our calls. Can't hurt it. Get this other one reeled in here. We just switched this one out, I don't know, 30 minutes ago or so. Toss it too. I may try to fish tomorrow, possibly. The wind is supposed to be up in the morning a little bit more, so if I do, I'll probably go somewhere and anchor. Today, I knew we would be able to drift until the wind got going. Who knows when it'll start? You just never know, man. The weather forecast, they usually get it right as far as the days that you're going to have high winds. But as for the timing of it, it tends to vary. Usually by lunch, though, these spring days, man, and you'll be flat calm at dawn and wind howling by lunch. Speaking of money, though, I'll tell you what we're spending money on at my house right now. My wife has a new hobby. She has gotten into Legos. She is specifically into the Lego flower arrangements. And I'm not real educated on Legos. I had some as a kid, but like they were the generic ones. I never had an actual Lego set growing up. I just wasn't. Honestly, I never had a desire to. I was just never into it. I liked action figures as a kid. I just wasn't into building stuff. And my wife never had Legos either as a kid. But I guess she saw people doing it and online, and she was at our house. So we got a 3-bedroom house, right? And of course, me and her, we have our bedroom, and then one of the bedrooms I use for my office, and then she has the other bedroom for like her stuff, and she's got like her dresser in there and all her makeup stuff and jewelry and all that crap and woman stuff, you know. So, she's got her room in there, and she had got some shelves for it, like them cube shelves. Just the cheap ones from Target. And she put them together all by herself. I was honestly, I was proud of her. I thought I was going to have to do it. But I come home one day and she had been working on it, and she got them done. And she said she really enjoyed putting together that furniture, putting together them shelves. And I thought, well, that's a little weird, because who the hell enjoys putting together furniture, especially them cheap Chinese furniture from Target? Like, the instructions are terrible, and half the time you don't have the right parts and whatnot. But by God, she done it. She put together them shelves and enjoyed doing it. So I guess she's seen some videos, people putting together Legos, and she thought, well, I enjoyed putting together them shelves. I bet I'll enjoy putting together some Lego sets. So she bought a Lego flower thing. You know what I'm talking about. You can build anything with Legos, but they make Lego flower arrangements. So she got one. She thought, I'm just going to try it. Well, she sat there at the kitchen table, and she put her headphones on, listening to an audio book, and she sat there and just worked on that Lego set and put it together, and just had the time of her life. She enjoyed it. So she got another one, and she enjoyed it. And so it kind of become a thing. She likes the flower ones specifically. And so anyway, I was at the store here recently, and I went down the toy aisle because I was looking for action figures. I don't know why the hell Walmart ain't got in the new Superstars figures. There's 2 waves of them out. They're out in Europe. They've been out for months. Walmart's in America ain't got them in yet. That's crazy. I'm pissed off about it, but nevertheless, I still, every time I'm at the store, I go to the toy department to see if they got them in yet. But they hadn't. But while I was over, I was like, well, maybe look at the Lego sets, see if I might see one my wife wanted. So I ended up, I bought her it was an orchid Lego set. Made like an orchid flower with a pot and flowers and blooms and all that on there. And it was a much bigger set. She had been doing the small ones. I think they're like $20 and 300 pieces or something like that. Well, I got her that big orchid. I think it was 600 and something pieces. And, you know, I thought it would take her like a whole weekend to do it, or an afternoon at least. She sat there and done that. She's gotten so good at them Legos already. It took her like 2 hours to do it. And I thought, boy, we're in trouble. Because them Legos, I don't know if y'all have priced those. Maybe you got kids that like Legos, or what I was telling my channel members about it. I do extra videos for my channel members and stuff. They get some kind of behind the scenes info of what's going on in life. And I was telling them about my wife's Lego obsession now, and one of my channel members said his wife is also really into the flower ones. But yeah, she got so good at it so fast that a $50 Lego set only took her 2 hours to put together. And I thought, boy, that's like $25 an hour hobby. At this point, like, that's going to get expensive fast. I'm like, honey, you have to pump the brakes on these damn Lego sets. She got her another one to work on the other day, though. It was another small one there, another type of flower. But she's enjoying it, though. She sits there and she just gets there at the kitchen table and puts her headphones on, listens to her audio book, and just starts working on the Legos. She says that, because the Lego sets, and of course, again, as a kid, all I ever had was the generic ones. Just, you get a bag of Legos type thing, and you kind of own your own with it. But these Lego sets, they have instructions. And they come in like bags. It'll be like the instructions say bag number 1, and it'll show you each piece and how you put it together and whatnot. And then you go on to bag number 2, and you put that together, and you put that, and it gives you step-by-step instructions. And she says that she enjoys following instructions. And she gets that sense of satisfaction and accomplishment when she finishes either a section there, and when she moves on to the next step, and then when she finishes the whole set. It's a sense of accomplishment. And I can kind of relate to that, not from like I wouldn't enjoy putting together Legos because it's just not my thing, but I always enjoy when I have a list of stuff to do, like a list of tasks, I always enjoy marking them off. Like I will sometimes I'll make notes on my phone of stuff I have to do, but like if there's stuff around the house I need to do, I'll make myself a list, like a handwritten list. And then I'll go, when I finish a task, I'll mark it off. And I get great enjoyment from marking things off that list, and especially when I finish a list. So I totally get what she's saying, where she's coming from with it. Now, what I can't understand is, like she says she likes following instructions. Well, by God, I give her instructions all the time of what I want her to do, and she don't listen to a damn thing. She don't seem to enjoy me telling her what to do, but by God, if some Lego instructions, if they tell her what to do, she likes it. But yeah, she's really gotten into these Legos though, folks. So that's the new thing in our house. I don't know where she's going to put all these things. She's taken some of them to work and put in her office there. She's got a shelf, and she got them, for a while she was into them, how the hell do you say the word? Lubus. Hellfire, you know what I'm trying, and then little doll things, little stuffed animal doll things from China. They were apparently real popular on TikTok, and she was into them pretty hardcore for a few months, her and her friends there. There's a couple other girls she works with, and they'll have them all in their office and stuff. And so she got into those. Well, she's already got some of that crap there in her office. And so now she's got the Legos in there, and she got that orchid there that I got her. She's got it set up in the kitchen. Which I will say, those flowers, once they're assembled, they look pretty good. And honestly, from a distance, like if you're sitting in the living room looking across to the kitchen and you see that flower sitting there, you really can't even tell it's Lego from a distance. So they look good. You don't have to water them. They're not going to die on you. My channel member said they can be difficult to dust, and so I could definitely see that being a problem. Like you go to dust them things, and you're probably going to knock pieces off. I'm wondering, I was kind of thinking, as far as dusting them, it might be better, instead of like taking like a Swiffer or a feather duster or something and trying to actually physically touch the Lego set to get the dust off, I was wondering if maybe it might be a good idea to use air. Like try to blow the dust off, like maybe a hair dryer. Probably wouldn't want to bring a leaf blower, that'd be too strong, but like maybe a hair dryer or something, just something to blow air on it. That might get some of the dust off of them. I'm sure there's probably YouTube videos on how to dust Lego sets. But I don't know what the hell she's gonna do with all of them. Because if this hobby persists, and it don't seem like it's going away, like she don't seem to be losing interest in it, it's possible we're gonna have to buy a new house just to store her Lego sets. Between that and the wrestling figure. Of course, at least with the wrestling figures, I can't find them. Well, there goes that fella that was fishing the creek. He's in there quite a while in that creek, so he must have caught him some. Terrible timing for him to pull up right there, though, right when we was catching that fish. I was pretty much forced to interact. He was a nice guy, though. I mean, he asked if we was going to be going up in that creek or whatever, which he wasn't going to bother me. from a fishing perspective, I just didn't want to be hassled by having conversation. Even though he seemed like a nice guy, we'd probably get along real fine with each other in real life, but I just didn't want to come out here today and converse with anybody except for you all. And I only want to converse with you all because I don't have to actually converse with you all. If I had to actually be around people, I wouldn't enjoy it as much. Oh, I had a conversation the other day, though, on the water. You all might be amused by this. I didn't find it amusing at the time. In fact, I was a little bit pissed off. But I went out, made a bait run, and I was just netting shad. So it wasn't a day where I was filming, because that was all I was doing, was going to get some shad. It was before the tournament, actually. So I worked my way back into a creek, and right now all our water's still down for winter drawdown. So some of these creeks, especially when you get toward the back of them, like they get real narrow. And so I'm working my way back in this creek, and I'm coming up on a boat. And we're at an area of this creek that's maybe, I don't know, 20 foot wide. I mean, it's a narrow area, and then you go back further and it kind of opens up into a shallow, kind of a shallow bay area. And I knew there'd be a bunch of shad back there because it was a warm day. I knew they'd be back there kind of in that shallow bay area, but I had to go through this narrow part where this boat was at to get back there. And like I said, it's maybe 20 feet wide, so he is kind of, you got your creek channel, right? And he's kind of got his boat positioned along the edge of this shoreline, and he's casting over to the other side. There's some brush over there. So I'm getting closer and closer to him, and I'm thinking like he's going to slide over and let me go around on the side he's not casting to. But as I'm getting closer and closer to him, I notice like he's starting to almost cut me off from going on the other side while still making casts across the channel. And when we get close enough to speak, he's like, "Can I help you with something?" I was like, "Well, not unless you want to help me catch some bait." He said, "Well, the only bait back here is the minnows in my bucket. You don't need to be back here." And that pissed me off. That just flew all over me. Because, I mean, we on public water, you know. Listen, I don't like, when I'm in his situation, and I'm in a creek like that, I'm in a tight spot, and some bass boat rolls up, or somebody else, like, it pisses me off too, right? Like, I don't like it. But at the same time, you're on public water. So it's just part of it. And this guy talking like he owns the whole damn lake. So I was like, "Well, buddy, here's the bottom line. I can either go on this side of you and go around you and not affect your fishing, or I'm going to cut right across your lines and go this way. But regardless, I'm going to go back here and I'm going to net me some damn shad. You don't own this body of water. Your name ain't out in front of this creek." And he starts going off on me about how I ain't got no fishing etiquette, and I'm so damn rude, and I'm messing up his fishing, and I mean, just going off. And I ended up cussing the guy out. He had some other guy in the boat with him too, wasn't saying a damn word. I think his buddy there in the boat knew what an ass he was being. But yeah, this guy was talking like he owned the whole damn lake, so I ended up going around him. On the other side there, I didn't cut across his lines, but boy, I was ready to I was ready to wrap his damn lines up my pedal drive and cut them off. I was pissed. So anyhow, I go back there. I net the shad, and it took me, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, net enough shad. And I come back out, and he's still there. He's in a little bit wider section of the creek, but he's still there. And I was like, here we go again. You know, I was just expecting another argument out of this guy. And I was wishing at that point, I was wishing I had the cameras with me. Because I was just making a quick bait run. I left the cameras home. What an awesome video that would have been. Because that type of crap, man, people love arguments and confrontations and stuff. That's how pathetic we are as a society. That's what people get off on. But like, I would have made some money on that video had I been filming that that conversation between him and I. But anyhow, I'm coming back out, and I'm expecting another argument. But no, now he wants to be all friendly to me. Now he's like, oh, what are you going to catch on all them shad, or you catfish and whatnot? Oh, you ain't going to believe what I just caught. We just pulled up a sturgeon over here. That thing was 3 foot long. I'm like, good for you. Great. Have a good one, buddy. I'm gone. You know, like once that bridge has been burned, like him and I, we ain't gonna be friends at that point, you know? It just ain't how it works. I don't like people anyway, and so when a person gives me a reason to not like them even more, hell with them. And we got a few billion people on planet Earth. When one person shows you how they are, don't waste any more time with them, because there's plenty more people out there that you ain't got time for that are more likely to be somebody you would want to interact with. You know what I mean? Like, so odd situation though, very odd situation. I mean, I just didn't, right from the start, I didn't understand. I'm like, is this guy really trying to cut me off from going around the side of him that he's not casting to? Like, I mean, it was weird. It was a weird situation. But, hold on a second here. Oh, I got to get my glasses. The sun's starting to pop out. There they are. I'm going to go blind out here. But yeah, man, there's just times like that. You get forced to interact with people you don't want to interact with out on the water, and you're going to have words with people, unfortunately. I don't know what pissed me off more, the fact that he thought he owned the water, and I guess he was going to try to talk me out of going back there to get the shad or something. I don't know. Or the fact that he then wanted to be buddy-buddy with me on my way back out. It's like, if you're going to be a dick, just own it. Be a dick all the time. Don't have a turnabout. So, anywho, hopefully I can get back to, because lately, I mean, where I was behind on getting videos out, I was having to go out and fish some weekends if the weather was good, because I mean, the weather's always, when you're fishing out of a kayak, the weather is always going to be the biggest issue. Like if the wind's blowing super hard, I'm just not going to be able to function well in a kayak. Or if it's pouring down rain, I can't really go out and get a decent video. So I kind of have to adjust my fishing and filming around decent weather days. And when I'm behind, I have to oftentimes go out on weekends when I don't really want to go out because of all the increased boat traffic and people on the water. Sometimes you gotta just suck it up and do it. But I'm hoping as we get further into spring here and get some better weather, I can get ahead again and then just go back to fishing during the weekdays when there's very few people out on the water. I'm filming this on a weekday, and so far we've seen me and that other fella, and I think one other boat went by. So, I mean, it's like it's a much better fishing experience during the week than it is on the weekends. So hopefully I can get ahead again, and which I'm a little bit ahead right now. I'm like 3 videos ahead today as I'm filming this. So get back to just fishing weekdays, and then on the weekends, if I do want to fish, go out and go carp fishing or somewhere where I can hide from people. Get back super shallow. Look right here, we got more right there along the bottom, man. We've got some fish. We've come across, some of these fish we've come across may not be cats, but some of them have to be cats. Like some of them have to be. Like, I mean, who knows what that is? I can't tell on a screen. We're 18 feet deep, but like I don't have any idea what those are. But just as many fish as we've seen, some of them have had to be cats. So a little disheartening that we've only got one bite so far. It's a good fish, but only one so far. So I mean, goodness gracious, look at all that mess right there. We're 17 feet too. I wonder if we shouldn't maybe lower our baits down a smidge. We dropped off again, so maybe that'll help our calls. Another mosquito right there too. Them things, it still seems early for them, but they out. I done got a tick off of me too. My ultralight trip should be the last video. I fished a creek I hadn't ever fished before. Found it on the way home one day. I was on the way home, GPS was rerouting me because of, I guess, a wreck or backup or something on the interstate. So it rerouted me off this back road. And I come across a little bridge, had a creek going under it, and I stopped real fast and pulled off and looked. I'm like, man, that looks interesting. That looks promising right there. I bet there might be some fish in that creek. And I pulled up on the map and I seen that creek dumped into the river. Good ways on down, but it looked like it had some depth to it. So I was like, I'm gonna come back here at some point and fish. And so I got home from the Alabama trip, and it was a day where it was windy, and I had a doctor's appointment in the afternoon, and so I was like, well, this is a good day to go out and try that creek. And so sure enough, I went out there and got some fish. I didn't get much of a variety, but there was some red-breasted sunfish in there that was, I mean, they were pretty prevalent in there. I got several of them. Beautiful fish. I mean, those red-breasted sunfish are some of the most beautiful fish we have in this area. I mean, the colors on them, the blues and the orange, are so vibrant. It makes you wonder how they can survive, because I mean, they obviously stand out in the water. I guess maybe that's why they go so far up into those creeks, to try to get away from predators, just because they stand out so much. But got on several of them. But anyway, I'm back there in that creek, and I hear something rustling in the bushes, and look over, and there goes a damn snake crawling out in the water. I was like, whoo, that's time for me to go. Time for me to skedaddle and get away from there. I still remember that Bill Dance blooper video. He had that lure hung in a tree, and he's pulling on the branch, and the snake falls down right in his lap. If that ever happened to me, I'd need new underwear. I'd need a change of underwear for sure. I'd have to have a counseling session too, probably. I'd be messed up from it. I just don't like snakes. I blame my mother. I think my mother is afraid of snakes, and I think her phobia transferred to me as a kid, and I always hated them too. Snakes and ants. I'm not fearful of ants, but they just creep me out. I don't like ants. Spiders, on the other hand, have never really bothered me, and I don't know why. It seems like more people have a fear of spiders than any other insect or animal, but spiders they've just never really done anything for me. Probably a good thing too, because I mean, hell, I see them all the time. They say, I think we're always within a few feet of a spider. That's another one of them statistics that I have heard that somebody probably said with confidence, even though it may or may not be true. Just talk with authority, folks. Talk with confidence, and people will believe whatever you say. That's the real secret to persuasion. Say it with confidence. I'll tell you what confidence for me is wavered though. When you go down there, when I go down to that Alabama tournament, and literally every decision I make is wrong. That really messes with your confidence a little bit. Even though I've done this crap for years, and I mean, I've had good days, I've had bad days. It always averages out in the end. Like, it always works out at the end of the year. I'm gonna catch a bunch of fish, I'm gonna have a bunch of big fish, I'm gonna have some skunk days. Like, it just always averages out. Oh, left rod got a little love tap. We ain't getting nipped or nothing down through here. Of course, that's how it was when I was out here previously. I didn't get dink tapped. I didn't get a lot of little nips and stuff. It was just when I would come across a fish that was willing to eat, it was a solid bite, big fish. But I mean, today, we just ain't, so far anyway, we ain't had them active fish willing to eat. But, you know, going down there and just making one bad decision after another, it messes with your mind a little bit. And it also makes you question stuff too, like, for instance, yeah, and you all have heard me say this for years, I don't like suspend fishing when the water's real choppy. When you're bouncing up and down, I just don't particularly do well. And because I historically haven't done well in those conditions, now when those conditions arise, I just don't try to suspend baits at all. Well, you get turned, I don't know, again, I don't know how the guy that won it, Aaron, I don't know what he done as far as techniques go. But second and third place suspended down there tournament in the wind and choppy conditions. They were actually able to catch, not only catch fish, but catch good fish doing that. And so it just makes you question everything you think you knew. Like I've developed a view of the world and a view of how fish are and react and what they do based on my experience. And so when you go somewhere like a tournament and you get beat by people who are defying the logic that I thought was sound, it makes you question things like, well, hell, I'm questioning right now if we're going to get a bite. He's hitting it. Let me just set the hook on that thing. Yeah, we got one on here, folks. We got another bite finally. The first bite come quick. The second one here is taking forever. Yeah, he's a smaller one too. Oh, lordy days, that's a channel cat. We didn't need no channel cat out here, folks. That ain't what we after. I had a couple of them on tournament day. They were on my score to end too. I knew if them channel cats was on my score to end, I wasn't gonna win, and sure enough. I mean, that's a pretty good sized channel cat for this area, but not a target species for sure. It's nice to get another bite though. We have been limited on those thus far. Come here, fish, open up. Open that mouth. Well, you know what? I don't know that I need your mouth open for that hook, actually. Let's see if we can just get it out like this without opening your mouth. There we go. All right. You know what, fish? I ain't even going to handle you. If that's how you want to be, I ain't even going to hold you up. These people have seen enough of you. Nobody wanted to see no channel cat, no way. There it goes. Okay. Let's take a look at that head bait. We'll probably switch it out. Nice to get another bite nonetheless. I'm happy about that. Well, that thing's still got all the innards and everything in it right there. Look at that. Let's just send it back down as is for a few minutes. If the stuffing had been knocked out of it, we'd switch it out. But with the innards still in there hanging, I mean, we just try it again. But yeah, I think maybe sometimes I'm guilty of this. Maybe some of you all out there are too. Of just overthinking the situation. Like for the tournament, for instance, I mean, I'm like, man, cold front come through the night before, drop the temperature 20 degrees, the wind's cranking. Like, I'm not going to be able to suspend fish down there. And then I go out there and get my ass kicked by people who are suspend fishing. And they caught a bunch of fish too. I mean, I couldn't hardly get a bite doing what I was doing where I was at, but they were catching a bunch of fish. And like the cold front didn't affect things at all. And I'm like, I just overthought the situation. Maybe we always do that. Like maybe it's just, maybe the real thing we should be doing when we go fishing. And it kind of goes back to what we touched on earlier. Like this is how I enjoy fishing. This is what I want to do when I go catfishing. Maybe you should treat this like when I go ultralight fishing. Just as an example, when I go ultralight fishing, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna beat the banks, right? Beating the banks, I'm making a bunch of casts with either gulp minnow or a worm or whatever, and just catching whatever I can catch. Like the technique, whether I'm using the worm or the gulp minnow, the technique's the same. But it don't matter the day, the time of year, the weather conditions, the water conditions, like that's what I'm gonna do. And some days I'm gonna catch more fish than others. Some days I might catch one species of fish versus another, but like that's what I'm gonna do. You just go out there and you make it work. Maybe that's what we should do with catfishing too. Just pick a technique that's productive, that you enjoy doing, and just go do it. Weather conditions, screw it. Water conditions, hell with it. Moon phase, barometric pressure, current flow, depth of water, who gives a rip? Just go do what you like to do and keep doing it until you either catch fish or don't catch fish or call it a day, whatever. Just go do what you love to do. And it'll work out in the end. I mean, that may be the way. I mean, I can't say we, I don't know how you are, but like I spend a lot of time in my own head rationalizing and trying to predict where fish are going to be, what they're going to be doing, how they're going to be behaving. And it's like, maybe none of that stuff really matters. Maybe just go fishing. I mean, because when you get right down to it, I don't know why fish are the way they are, why they do what they do. Some of their behavior is predictable. Certain times of year, certain places, you can expect to find fish, like I talked about there kind of at the beginning of this video. So, I mean, there is some predictability with it, but there's also some unpredictability too. Some days you think, man, fish are going to have lockjaw. Big fronts move through, they're going to be shut down, and you go out there and wear them out. Other times, man, there's been other days where we've had just perfect conditions. You think, boy, today's the day. We've had steady weather for a few days. You got good current flow. Like, we're going to tear them up, and you can't hardly buy a bite. And it's like, why is that? So I don't know, man. The more I think I know about fishing, every time I think like, maybe I'm getting some stuff dialed in. Maybe I'm figuring some fish out. The more I think I know, the more I realize how little I know. Which is on par for what many of you all have said about me for years. I mean, so many of y'all out there, I don't know why you watch. Justin, he ain't worth a damn. He don't know nothing. Oh, another little tug on that left rod. Yeah, Justin, he He don't know what he's talking about. He ain't no good. I've heard that crap for years. Maybe there's some truth to it. I think though, I mean, one thing that is important is doing something you enjoy, because you are going to be more likely to stick with something long enough to have success with it if you enjoy doing it. When you're doing something that you don't want to do, maybe it's a technique like, well, just as an example for me, I've talked about this with you all before. Like, I absolutely hate planer boards. I hate it. It's the least fun way to catch fish. It's super productive. You catch a lot of fish doing it, catch a lot of big fish doing it. Like, it's an effective technique. There's a reason why people do it. But as far as the fun factor, the enjoyment, I just hate it. It's not fun. I'd rather not catch fish at all than have to use planer boards. So for me, like, if I was going out and I had to use planer boards, man, if I wasn't getting bit, it would be hard for me to stick with it. And even if I was catching fish, like, it would have to be good fish. It would have to be like a tournament day where I needed those fish. Like, otherwise, I'm just going to lose interest in it real fast. So, I mean, if you can find something you like and enjoy doing and it's productive, even if it's not the most productive technique all the time, like, you're going to be more likely to see it through and do it long enough that you actually will be able to catch some fish and have some success with it. So, maybe, and of course, I'm not going to commit to anything, but like, it would be stupid to do that. But, you know, just commit to doing what, like, let's say you want to suspend and just do it. Regardless of the day, the conditions, whether you're in a tournament or not, just do what you want to do and see how it shakes out in the end. I don't know, man. Tournament situation, I feel like I'm still going to be compelled to do what I think's going to be the best thing on that day versus doing what I want. Now, this last tournament, I did take the Hobie Lynx. First tournament that I have fished in this kayak. I wanted to do a tournament in this thing and see if I could be competitive. Because I didn't know. I mean, when you're fishing against these guys that have these giant kayaks that are basically plastic John boats, and they're running rod racks and fishing with 8 and 10 rods, running planer boards covering the whole damn river channel, and I'm out here in the glorified paddleboard, could I be competitive? Now, I obviously wasn't able to be competitive in the tournament in Alabama, but it wasn't the kayak's fault. It was just my dumb decisions. The kayak, I think, done pretty well. I was able to lay the measuring board across the front there between the pedals and the camera mount, and was able to score the fish on there just fine. So, I mean, that went well. So I think there's hope for me fishing tournaments out of this vessel. I just didn't have a good tournament day that event, but it wasn't due to the kayak. It was just boneheaded decisions. Speaking of them big plastic John boats though, we had 2 incidents down there at the tournament. One fella was fishing out of the new Wilderness Systems kayak, the Tactical, I'm wanting to say 128, Tactical Pro 128. I'm not 100% that's the name of the model, but it's the new, they come out with it last year. It's their new model, large kayak. I struggle to call it a kayak. It's a plastic John boat, let's be real. But anyway, a couple of the fellas down there at the tournament had that new kayak. And one of them I looked at this kayak at the tournament check-in, because one positive of these tournaments is it's a place where everybody has their kayaks all rigged up in one location. So if you're interested in something or a type of kayak, or you want to see how people have rigged stuff up, going to a tournament check-in is a great place to do it, because everybody's there in one location. And so you can kind of get ideas on how people have rigged stuff and how they've mounted it. If they've had to DIY something, you can see how they've done it. So anyway, I was down there and I looked at the Wilderness Systems kayaks. First time I'd seen it in person. And there's some pretty cool features on it. Like one of the things on the bow mount, it's got a plate already set up to mount your bow mount motor onto, which is a nice feature. Most of the kayak models on the market, you've had to buy an adapter plate. And there's a lot of companies making those adapters, but I mean, that's an extra $100, $150 you got to spend after you buy your kayak to just get the accessory to mount the motor onto. So this comes built in, which is pretty cool. But they had run pulleys, cords through the hull. Hold on, we got another fish taking this left rod down here. Take it on down, fish. Oh, he let it go. I hope it wasn't another old channel cat. They need to leave our baits alone. Let me reel in, make sure he didn't take off with that bait. Let's take a look at it now. Yeah, he knocked the stuffing out of it at least. Let's switch it out. I'll feel better about it if we switch it. I'm gonna leave the body section on because it ain't been messed with over there. Put one of these, this is a smaller head here, but we'll go ahead and roll with it and just see what happens. But they had put pulleys into this kayak where you can connect that pulley to the lever on your motor and be able to sit in your seat, pull that lever and release the latch for your bow mount, and then pull another cord and raise the motor up. And all them cords are inside the hull. Because like on my Hobie Pro Angler, where I've got the bow mount mounted, I had to rig up my own kind of DIY pulley system. And those cords lay across the front hatch and down into the deck. And so this kept everything kind of inside the kayak, very clean. It was a very clean install. I liked that about it. But one thing I noticed right away, the floors were warped on this kayak. And Kyle, he's got one there, and he said, like, the plastic's very thin on this kayak compared to most models. And that was kind of a turnoff to me right away, because, I mean, the volume of days that I fish, my kayaks are going to take a pounding on these boat ramps and rocky shorelines and stuff. Like, I don't purposely try to tear up anything. I don't try to be hard on my gear, but I am hard on my gear just because of the volume of use. So I'm not too confident that Wilderness Systems kayak would hold up well for me, even aside from the fact that I just don't really want another John boat style kayak. I enjoy fishing out of a small, nimble platform way more than a big monstrosity. I mean, you might as well get a boat at that point. That's kind of how I feel about it when they're that big and that stable. But anyway, that kayak, there's 2 incidents at the tournament involving that kayak. So the first one, well, one of them not so much really. One of them was the kayak's fault, the other one not so much. But one guy at the tournament flipped his Wilderness System kayak twice. Apparently he had a big fish hit a rod, and you know, most cat fishermen, you're using heavy gear, drags locked down, and I guess the way the fish took the rod down and turned the kayak, he just got off balance and went over. And then it happened a second time. And so he ended up flipping the kayak twice. After that, he made it to shore and thankfully was safe, didn't get hurt or nothing. But he just ended up leaving. And I don't blame him, but he was pretty pissed about the kayak. But that wilderness system, it does set up a little higher. I mean, it's a big, wide, I'm sure it's super stable, but it sets up higher on the water. So your center of gravity is going to be a little different on it than some of the other models. But anyway, he flipped it twice. Thankfully, didn't get hurt. I mean, the water down there was cold, but not. I mean, yeah, it's like around 60 degrees, which is cold. It's a shock to the system when you go in that kind of water, but it wasn't like frigid cold, like in the 30s or 40s type cold where you're really in trouble type thing. So thankfully, he was okay. Now the other fella was in that kayak, but it wasn't the kayak's fault. He was up by the dams there in the hydros and lost connection with his motor from the remote. Like the motor wasn't responding to the remote, and he was getting pulled back into the turbines there, the boils. And I'm telling you, man, these guys that are out there bumping, getting up in the hydros and stuff in these kayaks, like they're having a good time. They're enjoying themselves, but they're one mistake away from dying. I mean, people that go overboard up there in the hydros off of boats, I mean, people drown up there at the dams every year. Every one of these dams, somebody's going to have a boating accident, they're going to fall overboard. Every year we have deaths from people getting sucked in, getting pulled under. It's going to happen in the kayak world too. I don't want it to happen. I hope I'm wrong. But with people pushing the limits more and more and putting themselves in bad situations, you're already in a dangerous situation. Then you have something go wrong. Maybe like in that guy's case, is for some reason his motor doesn't respond to the remote, like it loses connection, it doesn't pair with the motor or whatever. And now you've got this huge kayak that's impossible to paddle, and you're trying to get sucked into, like it's a matter of time, man. Somebody's gonna get hurt, or worse yet, killed. And we've had some incidents in these tournaments where guys have flipped their kayaks and lost gear and stuff. Like it's been a frequent occurrence. And here's what I think part of the problem is, as far as like people flipping their kayaks and stuff. And I'm going to sound like old man yelling at clouds when I talk about this, but like when I started kayak fishing, and you're going back almost 20 years now when I first got in a kayak for the first time. But back then, you didn't have these big giant kayaks that are kind of like John boats, right? I mean, a fishing kayak back when I started was just a regular kayak that had a couple rod holders molded into it. That was the only difference between a regular kayak and a fishing kayak. Was the fishing kayak, and I quote fishing kayak there, it had rod holders on it. That was it. And the first like legitimate fishing kayak I ever had was a 2007 model Native Ultimate. It was a sit-inside style kayak with a tunnel hull. It was 30 inches wide, 30 inches. And I mean, it was a big upgrade over the cheap kayak I had prior to that. Definitely more stable. Hold on, we got a little something happening here. Something's got our bait. Or am I just running on bottom here? I may just be running on bottom. That's weird. Or is that a fish? What is this? Oh, hell, it's a damn trot line. That's what we're hung in. Damn it. Damn it. I can't stand these people that put this crap out here and gets them. It's so disruptive to everybody else. I guess that's a trot line. Did I run my hook through it? It's a rope of some kind. I don't see hooks. Yeah, it does have. Yeah, it does. Damn it. There went. Man, we did. We run that hook right through the damn line. Dadgummit. You know, I thought they had to mark. You know, again, I can't stand trot liners anyway. These people piss me off. I thought they had to mark these things. They should have to mark them so this don't happen. I mean, this thing extends, I guess, from the bank over there all the way out across the damn river here. I don't even know where it's tied off. It ain't no marker or nothing on it over there. Hell, I'm curious to see what's on it. I ain't seeing a lot of... Let me reel this other one up here. Get it out of the way so we don't get snagged in it again. This is new, by the way. I drifted down through here before, but... Damn trot lines, man. I was like, what are we hung in? Yeah, he got him a fish on there. There's one. He's got one on there for sure. That's a good one too. I ain't gonna mess with it because, you know, I think it's illegal to, look at that fish right there. I'm pretty sure it's illegal to mess with somebody's trot line, although I think it's illegal to have an unmarked trot line, but I ain't certain on it. I don't really know all the rules on this crap because I don't do this crap. And I know people will argue and say, well, you know, Justin, you got people feeding their families. Well, you ain't supposed to be feeding your families with these contaminated fish. You must not give a damn about your family if you want to try to give them cancer. Yeah, there's another one on there. Channel cat. I'm just curious. I ain't messing with their stuff here. I'm just pulling along here just to see what all they got. This is why we can't catch no damn fish. They all getting trot lined out of here. I hate to see this. Absolutely hate to see it, because these people for sure, I mean, they're not catch and release. You trot line and you taking all these damn things out. I mean, this thing goes all the way across the damn river. It just keeps going. There's something else on here, I feel it. Yeah, there's another big fish. Golly bum. That shit ought to be outlawed. It's 2026, man. Ain't no reason to be leaving that crap and leaving it out here so people get all their gear wrapped up in. You know how many rigs I've lost drifting through trot lines in the past? And they shouldn't be able to do it across the entire, I guarantee you, they probably extends all the way to the other side of the river over there. Unreal. All right, I ain't gonna let it piss me off though. Let's get on. We just saw more fish on that trot line than we've seen on our own lines all morning. But if people are running these lines, if they're doing this crap, they're gonna clean this area out. Nothing stays. That's why I'm telling you folks, you get on a good bite, pound it. Keep going back as much as you can, because somebody else is going to come along and ruin it for you. They're either going to be overfishing it, or they're going to trot line it, or they're going to set their nets and traps and stuff and take the fish out to pay lakes and whatnot. Like, enjoy them while you can, folks, because it ain't never going to last. Let me get another piece of shad here. Damn trot lines. I do need to look up the rules on that though, on the trot line stuff. I'm pretty sure. I mean, obviously, if you're messing with somebody's gear, like you can't. Yeah, that's their property, so you know we can't cut that line or anything legally. But I need to look that up, like situations where you find unmarked, unlabeled. I'm not 100% confident, but I'm pretty sure I have heard or read that somewhere that those things have to be. I think you're limited on the length of the line, how many hooks. I'm pretty sure you got to have it marked. Some kind of marker. Like I know, for instance, with jug lines, you are supposed to have your name or your fishing license number on the jugs. Like I know that, but I don't know about trot lines. What's the rules on it? But it would be good to know for the future. That way, if we find one that's illegal, we could just go ahead and pull the damn thing up, cut it, and let them fish go. I don't know why anybody'd want to eat. I mean, I know, well, food's expensive, feed the family. It's such a stupid argument. Everybody that makes, well, you don't have a right, man, they ought to be able to go feed their family. Let me tell you something. If you're struggling to feed your family, you don't need a damn boat. Because to access that trot line, they're going to have to access it via boat. So if you've got a boat, you ain't hurting that damn bad for money. Sell the boat and feed your family. And what do you haul in the boat with? A truck? An SUV? Sell your truck or SUV and get you a compact car that gets better gas mileage and is cheaper to maintain and cheaper to insure. I can't stand that. I get that argument all the damn time from people. Anytime I bring up trot lines or jug lines and all that crap, people's always like, you don't have a right to tell people they can't feed their family. Go feed your family. Go ahead. But don't tell me that you got to do this because you're broke when you're driving a truck and hauling a boat down to the river to go do this trot line crap. Pisses me off. And again, why the hell would you want to? I mean, this water's contaminated. There's signs up at every one of these ramps saying, don't eat the catfish out of here. So, I mean, if you do have a family and you care about your family, why do you want to feed them fish that are going to potentially give them cancer? And them larger cats, they've been alive a long time. They've been eating stuff and down in this mud and whatnot. That's I mean, I wouldn't want to do it. So, yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts on that. I need to make myself a mental note though. I need to look up trot line regulations and just see what the rules are on that, just so I know in the future, if we find one that's illegally set up, we can go ahead and release the fish and cut the line and stuff. It's such a stupid practice. It's effective. I mean, it's a good way to get a lot of fish, but leaving them things out for a long period of time, completely unmanned, and running them across the whole damn river for everybody else to get their gear snagged up in, like it's just such a shitty thing. It pisses me off. And then if they don't check on the fish, then the fish just end up stuck on there dying on the line. I can't stand it. I hate trot lines, and I hate the people that run them. And I'm sorry if that pisses you off, if you are one of those people or know somebody who is, but that's just how I feel about it. It's okay. It's okay for me to hate them, and it's okay for them to hate me. We don't all, contrary to what the TV channels will tell you, we don't all have to get along in this life. We can have differences of opinions. Damn trot liners. Anyway, what was I talking about before we got everything wrapped up in the trot line? Oh, I was talking about how people are going to get killed kayak fishing. So here's what I think's happening, and why we've got these guys in the tournaments going overboard. The kayaks are bigger and more stable now than ever before, and yet we're having more people end up upside down and in the water on these kayaks than ever before. Why is that? You would think it would happen less because of the extra stability and size of these vessels, right? But it's not. It's happening more. Don't make sense. Well, except it kind of does when you really put some thought into it. So here's, when I started, kayaks were much less stable. They were much more narrow. And because of that, you learned how to fish inside of your kayak. I mean, that Native Ultimate kayak I had was 30 inches wide. And at the time, like, that was considered one of the most stable kayaks on the market. Like, that was one of the few, like, true fishing kayaks, like one of the first fishing kayaks that was made specifically for stability and fishing. And it was a whopping 30 inches wide, folks. But I fished out of that kayak, that particular one, for 6 years. And I learned what I could and couldn't do. I learned that every time I landed a big fish in that thing, I had to be careful. And there's an old adage you all have probably heard, but it's very, very true when it comes to kayak fishing, is where your head goes, your body goes. And so it was always very important to keep your center of gravity in the middle of the kayak. Keep your head in the middle of the kayak. Even when you're landing a big fish and you're kind of off on the side, bringing it in, you got to keep your head in the center, or else you're in trouble. And when you're fishing out of a more narrow kayak like that, I think it's beneficial because you are more consciously aware of it. When the kayak's a little bit more tippy, you are more likely to be thinking about, as you're landing that fish, because you know there is a chance of you going overboard or flipping, you're more likely to keep your head and your balance in the center as you're doing it. You're more careful because you have to be. Now, in my situation, and people who's been doing this a long time, you started out fishing that way, it kind of just becomes second nature to you after a while. You learn how to fish inside that less stable kayak. And so how you do things, how you land fish, all that just becomes muscle memory. It becomes a habit. And then when you do move up to more stable, bigger kayaks, you don't necessarily have to be as careful, as conscientious, but you do it anyway because it's just how you've always done things. Well, here's the problem, folks. A lot of these newer people getting into kayak fishing have never fished out of a real kayak before. As soon as they get into the game, they're in one of these plastic John boats, the New Canoe Unlimited, or a Jackson Big Rig, or a Bonafide XTR, or now this Wilderness Systems kayak. These things are huge, wide kayaks. And they give you a kind of false sense of security because they're so big and so stable. They give you a false sense of security. So when you're landing a fish or you're standing up making casts or whatever it is you're doing where you could get a little off balance, you're not really thinking about being off balance because why would you? Your kayak is super stable. So that in turn leads to people making dumb mistakes. They're not paying attention to where their body weight is or where their head is or whatever, and then they end up having an accident and ending up upside down. And it's not the kayak's fault. The kayak is never the reason why you flip, ever. I don't care if you're in a stable kayak or an unstable kayak. The reason you flip is because your head gets too far off center. If you flip or if you tip enough that you fall out, I mean, that's really the case with most of these big stable kayaks. It's kind of hard to flip these big stable kayaks, but you can go over far enough that you fall out. But when that happens, it's not the kayak that done it to you, it's you. Because you weren't paying attention to what you were doing. You got too far over, your body weight got too far over, and there you go into the water. But it goes back to just the fundamentals. The fundamental thing would be for us to catch some of them fish right there. You see them on the screen? They're passing up our baits. They got other baits they can eat up there on that trot line, I reckon. But, it just goes back to having a base, a fundamentals base of how things should be done. And guys are just skipping that this day and time. In 2026, somebody gets into the kayak fishing. They jump right into one of these plastic John boats, and they do it because everybody tells them to do it, right? Because they're going to put a motor on it, big rod rack. They're wanting to pull planer boards and fish 10 rods off a damn thing, and they just don't have a clue what they're doing. And the worst case scenario for them is they get out there and they do it for 2 or 3 years, 5 years, and they continually do things wrong. Like they're just, I won't say that they're careless, but they're just ignorant because they don't know that what they're doing is wrong. And so, like I talked about how I developed good habits because I had to, because I was fishing out of a narrow, kind of unstable kayak. You had to be consciously aware, and being consciously aware of flipping made you be more careful, and you just developed the muscle memory of just the habit of doing it so much that carried over. When it got more stable kayaks, I just naturally do the way I've always done it because I had to before, right? Well, the opposite is true. These guys, man, they fish 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and they're not careful of their body weight and position because they've never had to be. And then they get that one situation where they make a mistake or something happens and boom, they're in the water. And I mean, it's going to get somebody killed, I fear. It's one thing if a bass fisherman does it or crappie fisherman, because where are they going to be fishing at? Most likely they're going to be close to shore. I mean, most bass fishermen are just beating the banks. So if they go overboard, they can very quickly get to shore. Or if they're in a backwater creek somewhere, their feet are going to be on bottom if they're fishing shallow. Like it sucks. Anytime you go overboard, you might lose gear, or it could certainly be deadly depending on water temperature, no matter what depth you go into. But it's less likely to be catastrophic if somebody's bass fishing or crappie fisherman, they're up along the bank or in a shallow area. Like, it's just less likely to be deadly for them. But with catfishing, we're oftentimes out in the middle of the river somewhere, or these fellas up there in the hydros below the dams. Like, you go overboard in the middle of the river and you can't get your kayak back upright again because the thing's 48 inches wide and weighs a couple 100 pounds. And so you got to swim it to shore, and maybe you a half a mile from shore. That could be a bad time. Like, I mean, if the water's cold, like that can turn deadly real fast. You get up there in the hydros and that swift water below the dam, man, you go overboard in that. Boy, depending on where you're at, I mean, you can get sucked under, and like, it's just, I think a lot of these new people that come in the sport don't understand the danger. And it's not their fault. It's true of anything in life. You don't know what you don't know. And I mean, hell, I've done some stupid stuff too when I first started, because I didn't know. I just didn't know. But the advantage that I have over just having done this crap for so long and getting in this sport before this current generation of kayaks came along is I had to adapt to less stable kayaks. I had to develop some good fundamental practices out of necessity. And that has helped me. And thankfully, all the time I've been doing this, I've only flipped one kayak. And I was in a situation there, it's on video, I was in current, bass fishing. I was in current, got swept into a tree. I grabbed the tree. Never grab the tree, folks. It's your instinct to grab it, don't grab it. That's not going to end well. Because your upper body's going to stop and your lower body and the kayak's going to keep moving and you are going to roll, which is exactly what I done. And thankfully, I was with a couple other guys, was able to grab my gear and got me back upright and everything, but it's just, you never want to end up, I don't care if you're in a boat, a kayak, canoe, whatever, you don't want to end up in the water. That's where things are going to go wrong. So just be careful. If you're somebody new and you're starting out and you're going right into one of those big, huge kayaks, I mean, just try to be mindful. Just always remember where your head goes, your body goes. Try to keep yourself in the center of the kayak, even when you're landing fish and stuff. Just try to be careful. Because you're just one mistake away, man. One mistake. So thankfully, this last tournament, the fellow went overboard twice. He's okay. I think he's going to sell that wilderness kayak and go back to his bona fide. Because it, just looking at it, like, it does have a higher center of gravity. Like, you're going to have to be, even though it's a wide, stable kayak, you're going to have to be more mindful of your body weight in it just because you're setting up higher. It's going to naturally be more, if you get two kayaks with the same dimensions, and one of them you're setting 6 inches or a foot higher up off the water than the other one, you're going to notice that. Even though it's a short distance, even though it might only be 6 inches higher or a foot higher off the water, it's going to be noticeable to you. Like, you're going to be able to tell the difference in stability from that. And so, that he's going to get rid of the wilderness and go back to the bona fide. But, if you're somebody out there and you're considering one of those bigger kayak models, just try to be mindful of it, man. Try to be careful, because I see it. It's God's honest truth. I've seen it more now. I've seen just in our kayak catfishing tournament series. And we don't even, I mean, there's not even that many people that shows up to these damn things. We normally have maybe 10 people. We got fish working over here. Oh, let it go. But I mean, we don't even have that many people fishing these tournaments. Oh, he's back on it again. He's back after it again, folks. He wants that old head bait. We just haven't had an active morning. Even fish like that, like he nipped it a couple times and he's just gone. He just gives up. They're not a super active day. Which I mean, again, I didn't come out here expecting to have a 20 fish day. Like I thought we might get 2 to 5 fish range, but good quality fish. And of course the first one we got was good, but we only got the other channel cat since then. So it's not been a lights out day, but I mean, we're seeing a lot of stuff. Like I think some of these have to be cats right there. I've only got shad, so we can't really offer them another type of bait. I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not. Last time I'd come out, I'd use skipjack and done really well. But the shad's good and fresh. But yeah, just to put a bow on the other story there, just be mindful. I mean, we've had so many people in the kayak trail end up in the water. And when you think about how few people fish these tournaments and the size of the kayaks that they're in, like it's insane to me that it keeps happening. But it has to just be because of carelessness. It has to be. I think there's going to be some times where, I know one guy last year, his kayak had a hole in it, and he didn't know. And so he's out there on the water, and the hole fills up, and in that situation there, I mean, you're going to be off balance for sure. You get water sloshing around inside the hole, and it's real unstable real fast. But we've had other instances too where there haven't been any situation like that, and they just ended up in the water. On that note too, with the tournaments, I mentioned there, I think in one of these videos, that the tournament trail lost the big sponsor, the King Cat boat tournament trail. The last couple years, the kayak trail has been a division of the King Cat boat tournament trail. Well, they sold the boat tournament trail a few months ago. So the kayak trail lost the sponsor, and so all the sponsor money gone. Just basically fishing for entry fees now, which I think is going to negatively impact the turnout as the year goes on. We had 13 people show up for the first tournament of the year, which is kind of on par with previous years. But when it's like, what, year 4 into this, I would expect some growth. But the tournament trail, it doesn't get marketed. It doesn't get pushed at all. Like, it's kind of just, it's basically just it's a group of us that know each other, and it's just a way to get together and fish for a weekend, basically. That's what it's turned into. It wasn't, when the tournament director started it, I think he had kind of hopes of it growing and kind of becoming like some of the bigger bass fishing trails where you get a lot of people showing up and huge payouts and stuff like that. And in reality, it's about 10 people, and it's about, say, 15 to 20 people. And of those 15 to 20, about 10 you're going to average for each event that's going to show up. And but now that the sponsor money's gone, it's like, boy, if it ain't a place I want to go, or the weather sucks, like, I'm going to have a real hard time getting motivated to go. Because you hope if you cash in a tournament, you hope to get a free trip out of it, at least cover your expenses. But when you've got 10 people and there's no sponsor money and you're just playing for entry fees, like it's hard to even break even, because I mean, you go down, depending on where you're at, you know, and this Alabama tournament, I drove down there earlier in the week. So it's about 4.5, 5 hours, depending on traffic, for me to get from my house to there. So drive down, get a hotel, spend the night, fish the next day, then come back home, and then drive down again for the tournament. So you got fuel, couple nights hotel, food while you're on the road, tournament entry fee. I had to have a Alabama fishing license. You add all that up, and then look at, even if you win, what you going to get? You're still in the hole. You're still losing money. So then it's like, well, hell, if I'm going to lose money, if you're going to go on a fishing trip where you're guaranteed to lose money no matter what, why don't you just go somewhere that you want to go during a time when you want to go there? Why go fish a body of water that you don't necessarily want to fish, or go fish on a weekend where you know you're going to get a bunch of boat traffic, or go fish on a time where you know you're going to be dealing with high winds or bad weather or something like that? Like, no. If you're going to lose money, if you're going to have to lose money regardless on a trip, well, plan it for a location and time that makes the most sense, where you're going to have the best chance of success and be able to have the most fun. Now, the last 2 or 3 years when they've had sponsor money, it's been worthwhile, because you knew, I mean, even if you didn't win, like if you got second or third place, there was a chance you was still either going to turn a profit or at least break even. But now, where you're pretty much guaranteed to losing money regardless, it's hard to get super motivated to go. I think a lot of these guys will, like especially the guys from Ohio, and that's most of the trail. I mean, most of the guys who fish the national trail are from the state of Ohio, so they've got a long drive. For somewhere like Alabama, I mean, they've really got a haul to get down there. The next tournament on Nickajack, Tennessee, like there was something splashing out there in the middle too. But the next tournament there, Nickajack, it's still a long drive for them. So I think most of them Ohio guys, they kind of look at it as a vacation. They'll schedule vacation days at work and make a week of it. And they can do that once, but they can't do it for 6 or 8 tournaments throughout the season. So they're going to kind of pick and choose, and that's why you just can't get. That's why you can't get everybody at every event, because I mean, people just don't have the vacation time. They don't have the means to do it. So that's why, I mean, I think that Catyackers Trail that's going to be in the state of Ohio, I think they're going to have a really good turnout, because the bulk of the community lives up there, and the people that are up there, they're not going to have to travel far to fish those events, and not going to have to take off vacation time to go do it. So I think those tournaments are going to have potentially a good turnout for every event. But the national trail events, I think it's going to be, I wouldn't be surprised if this Alabama tournament that had 13 people, I wouldn't be surprised if it's the biggest turnout of the year, with the exception of the Ohio tournaments. Like there's two national trail events in Ohio, one in Hoover and one in Sandusky Bay. Those will probably have a bigger turnout than the Alabama, just because it's local to those people up there. But the Nickajack tournament, I would expect less people. The Missouri one, the Louisiana one, Texas may have a good turnout because so many people are in Texas. But the regulars who travel ain't going to be going down there to Texas, not many of them. So, I mean, it's just, you know, it's one of them things. It's like you gotta have a carrot dangling on the stick to get people to go drop all that coin to go to these things. And unfortunately, when you're only getting 10 people per event, it's hard to get sponsor money for that, because why would they? They're not going to see a return on the investment. I mean, companies that sponsor a tournament or sponsor a fisherman, like, they're not doing that out of charity. Maybe sometimes it's charity. Like if the tournament is for a charitable cause, sure, companies will donate for that sometimes, just doing it as like a donation type thing. But when you're getting a sponsorship for a tournament trail, companies want to see a return on that investment. It's not charity, it's investment to them. If they're giving you $5,000, $10,000, whatever, they need to get enough money coming back into their respective businesses to offset the money they've given to the trail and turn a profit on that. And when you've only got 10 people showing up to tournaments, like, what company's going to benefit from that? Especially fishing companies, because, I mean, tournament fishermen especially have brand loyalties. You know, I'm running, of course, I've got my deal with Catfish Sumo. I run their gear, but people like Catfish Sumo runs Catfish Sumo gear. People that like Mad Cat's going to run their gear. People like Catch the Fever, they're going to run their gear. So if another rod company comes in and says, well, hey, you know, we're going to give this tournament trail X amount of dollars, they're probably not going to see a return, because the 10 people who are fishing already have brand loyalties. And you're not getting new people in to fish the tournaments that maybe don't have those brand loyalties, that might go buy the sponsors' gear or rods, whatever. So it's like, what's the benefit of the individual company doing that? There's not. And so it's hard to grow that. So, I mean, and I'll tell you personally, on my personal level, I have considered taking on, I'm kind of, see how I can word this politically correct. I am kind of over working with companies on social media. I have my deal with Catfish Sumo. The owner of the company is one of my best friends, not just in fishing, but in real life. Like, you know, it's a true friendship there. And Catfish Sumo, they're great to work with. They don't make me do stuff that's not me. Like, I use their gear on video, and I have a required number of videos I have to make per year using their gear. But beyond that, I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go be a salesman. I don't have to make 87 social media posts a week hashtagging Catfish Sumo. Like, I don't have to be like an infomercial salesman, like Billy Mays selling the ShamWow back in the day. Like, I don't have to be that. And Catfish Sumo realizes the benefit of it, because if I tried to be Billy Mays, people are going to see right through it. Like, it wouldn't work for me, because that's not who I am. I would never be able to sell like that, because I'm not a salesman. But what I can do, and how I can bring value to companies, is go out, catch fish, have a good experience, a good user experience with their gear and products. And because I reach enough people watching these videos, they are going to see me having a good experience time after time after time with these products, and they're going to go buy them. And that's just a mathematical formula right there, folks. The more views I get equal more clicks to the affiliate links. The more clicks you get to the affiliate links, the more sales are generated. It's a numbers game at that point. The more views equal more exposure to the brand, equal more sales. So Catfish Sumo recognizes that. And it's like, Justin, just go be yourself. Just use our products on the video. And so it's been a great relationship. I've been working with Catfish Sumo now for, gosh, 5 or 6 years, I guess now. It's been great. It's been wonderful. But that's an anomaly. That's an outlier situation. When I've worked with other companies, or attempted to work with other companies, it's been, even situations that have been good, haven't been perfect. They haven't been great. And I'll give you some examples. Like a few years ago, I started doing these, they call them sponsored integrations, where I'll film a video like normal, and a company will buy 30 seconds to a minute's worth of time in your video, and you will plug that company. They'll give you some talking points, an affiliate link where you get some commissions. They'll give you a discount code for your audience, and they will pay you for that 30 seconds to a minute of time. They'll give you a cash payment for the time in the video, and then you'll get commissions on any sales you get from people using the links or whatever, right? And on the surface, that sounds great. Like, wow, a company's gonna give you $1,000 for 30 seconds? I'm like, hell, you know how many, man, back when I was working as a nurse, you know kind of the stuff I had to do to make $1,000, as long as I had to work to make $1,000, like, now I just gotta talk about a company for 30 seconds on a video and get that? Like, hell yeah, sign me up. And so I started doing them. Well, I ran into some problems. First off, companies oftentimes want you, they have unrealistic expectations. Some of them will be like, first off, you gotta exchange a bunch of emails to set the deal up, first off. I gotta move us, we're somehow working up on this ledge here. I gotta get us off a little deeper. But you exchange a bunch of emails setting up these deals. That's time consuming. Then they want you to submit a script to them prior to filming the video. And then you have to send more emails explaining how this is fishing. It's not scripted. Like if I could script this nonsense, I'd catch 100-pounders every damn day. Like, this is fishing. Whatever happens, happens. I can work a company's product or sales pitch. I can work it into a video, but it's going to have to be on my terms. Now, some companies are cool with that. Some of them aren't. Now, the ones that have been cool with it, and there's been a few of them, Manscaped, an example, that was super easy to work with. There was another one, hell, I done forgot the name of the company now, but some hair loss product. Totally unrelated to fishing, but most people who watch fishing videos are men. 90% of my audience is men, so it's kind of the demographic they were trying to reach. So they paid me. Easy peasy, just work it in however you can, hit the talking points, hit the discount code, share the link, all's well. Like, great. Easy money, right? Well, except for when it comes time to get paid. Because now, when it's time to get paid, the person who you've been interacting with, who's been responding to emails in a timely manner, suddenly they're unreachable. You got to send multiple email after email, like, where is my money? When am I getting paid? Then you finally hear back from this person. Like, oh, well, I don't deal with that. You gotta talk to this person. Now, they give you another email. You gotta email them over and over, and you finally maybe get a response from them. Like, oh, they've told you the wrong person. I don't do that. You gotta go to this person. So you have to spend all this extra time and energy to track down your money when it is time to get paid. And that's happened a few times. Like, I had one company, it took them months to pay me. Months. And numerous emails. And so what seems like a good deal up front, like, wow, I can make a quick few $100, $1,000 for 30 seconds of my time, ends up taking a whole lot more time and a whole lot more energy, and it becomes a real frustrating process. Now, it's still super easy money, and it's ridiculous the amount of money these companies spend just to pay an influencer to plug their product or company for 30 seconds to a minute. But by God, they do it. So it must be worthwhile to them. There goes another boat. I bet this is the trot liner. Oh, catching trot lines more than anything.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't cut them, did you?
No, I didn't cut them. Is that what you here to get?
Yeah, I'm taking them up. A lot of people whack them up with their knife, and that really hurts me there when I do that.
Well, it hurts me losing gear drifting into them. But I left them on there. That one up there, you got several fish on.
Really?
Yep. Some pretty good ones.
It started up on the curve, and I ended up, there's orange buoy in the middle of the river.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been doing pretty good out here, but not today, so.
I've seen you on Facebook or YouTube before.
Yep, filming right now, actually.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What's your name?
I'm Kayak Catfish on there. My name's Justin.
When you watching what? Watching catfish. Yeah, we watch you all the time. We ain't out here fishing our trot lines.
Well, I went on a rant today, by God, when I got snagged in that one up there and got all my gear hung up in it.
Believe it or not, I made them flat on the bottom. Not a float one on them. So.
Well, I was up off the bottom. Well, them fish probably brought it up a little ways.
Probably will. Probably will.
Yeah. Well, you sell them to pay lakes and?
No, sir. We've got a fish market we sell to.
Oh, okay.
And pay lakes ain't nothing but a get you in trouble type deal. All they want's a big fish, and you can't keep the big ones.
Yeah.
Have to throw them back, you know.
I'm surprised that fish markets buy fish out of here with all the contamination warnings and whatnot.
They ain't enough to hurt you, or they'd shut it down.
Mm.
There has to be more than 2 parts per million.
Oh.
Yeah. Per fish, you know.
Yeah.
That's a lot of contaminants.
Mm.
Well, fella, I hope you catch a bunch.
Well, I hope so too. I'm gonna give it another hour or so probably.
The river ain't got no lines passed on down through there.
Oh, past the bridge you don't?
Well, between here and the bridge, you'll see an orange football buoy, about like a bullet float.
Yeah.
A bullet. That's the end of it.
Oh, okay.
Anything past there, you're clear.
Okay. Well, that's good to know then for the future.
Don't badmouth me too much.
I went on a epic rant about it. Every time I get wrapped up in them things, it always sets me off, which I'm sure it does you too when you go up and people have cut them and stuff.
Oh, I've had many of them cut out. I've had my line stowed out the river, you know, half my own gone. I got thousands of dollars tied up in that equipment, you know.
Yeah.
25,000 sitting right here.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was talking about in the video. Every time I say something bad about trot liners, people are always like, well, people just trying to feed their families, Justin. Who are you to go off? And I'm like, well, if they got a boat and a truck to pull the boat with, they ain't starving. Like they got money to go out there and buy the family dinner. So.
I pay for this and everything I got was fishing money.
Yeah.
I don't got a regular job. This is it.
Oh, well.
It's the only way I make my money right here.
Mm.
So.
Well, it's working out. You got a nice boat, so it's paying off well for you.
My daddy actually had this one built new in '83, I believe it was.
Really?
Yep. He drowned in a boating accident last year and died at 86 years old.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And he was still doing this fishing when it happened. So.
I'll be doggone. Well, that boat looks good for 83. That boat looks good to be as old as that is.
Yeah, it took a few lickings.
Yeah.
But it keeps on ticking. All right, Mr. Y'all have a good day.
All right, you too.
Maybe you'll get a big one.
I hope so. Well, there you go, folks. There's our answer. He's running these trout lines and selling these fish to fish markets. He said there, I don't know if you could hear on the microphone or not, because this microphone being clipped to my chest, it picks up my voice good, but it don't always pick up the distance. You know, it kind of eliminates some of that noise. I don't know if you can hear him or not, but anyway, he said he's able to sell these fish to fish markets because of the contamination level. And granted, there's signs up all these damn boat ramps warning about the advisories and stuff, but apparently per fish there is not enough contaminants, so he's able to sell them, which, again, you go get you a catfish dinner at some restaurant around here, how much, I mean, if you eat an all-you-can-eat catfish buffet, how many of them pieces of fish are you eating? You know, I wouldn't trust it. If I was going to eat catfish, and I'm not a fish eater anyway, but if I was, I would want I would either want it out of clean water or like a farm pond type thing, you know, where the you know what's going in that fish type thing. But yeah, that's our answer. He's running them damn trot lines. He says he makes his whole living doing that, so he's clearly out here all the time. But he said them trot lines that he's got out there is on bottom, so I guess probably some of them fish swam up. And some of them fish that was on his line there was pretty big. So they were probably swimming up, and our lines being just off the bottom got into them. You know, I get it. I get what he's saying there. I see it from both sides. I'm obviously biased because this is what I like to do. And I like fishing this way. And so when I encounter trot lines, it negatively impacts what I do. And I get what he's saying when somebody like me comes along and drifts through his trot line and ends up cutting his lines, that negatively impacts what he does. So, you know, it's two ends of the spectrum. Both sides disagree with the other. Both sides are legal, you know. I mean, I don't know the laws as far as trot lines and stuff, but I mean, he's doing this for a living. He clearly, I'm sure he's within, I'm sure he's doing I'm sure what he's doing is legal is what I'm getting at. I'm sure he's within the law on what he's doing. He's been doing this his whole life. That's how he makes 100% of his living. Like he knows what he's doing. But it's just two opposite ends of the spectrum, man. I'm never going to be happy with a trot liner, and trot liners never going to be happy with recreational fishermen getting all caught up in their gear and stuff. But I'd about be willing to bet you the reason we ain't done worth a damn in here, if he's got trot lines he said there's some marker down here up all the way around to the top of the bend. I mean, if he's running trot, I mean, hell, a lot of these fish that we've been catching are probably on that line. That's probably why we've had a crap day as far as numbers goes. Like these fish, they've already been fed, and now because I mean, that one line, we didn't even pull up the whole line, but it had 4 or 5 fish on it. So, I mean, that's probably why we ain't done worth a damn. Like I said, though, I said it in the beginning here of the video, when you find an area and you get on a bite, a good bite, and there's a lot of fish there, and you're catching good, either good numbers or good quality fish, pound it. Fish it every chance you can until that bite stops, or until people find out about it and everybody starts fishing, or until trout liners come along and start hauling all them fish out of there. Because the good thing never lasts. It's just never going to last. You're never going to keep it to yourself. You're never going to keep all the fish in there. Like, they're just, that's the difference between catfishing and, say, something like bass fishing. Bass fishing is almost, bass anglers are almost 100% catch and release. Really, the fish that get killed from bass fishing are mostly in tournaments, where the mortality rate's pretty high, especially in warm water. But catfish just have a ton of pressure on them, not just from recreational fishermen like me using rod and reel, but commercial guys using nets, commercial guys using trot lines, jug fishermen, limb lines. There's just so many ways to catch catfish, and they're all put pressure on the fishery. So, I mean, it's hard. It's hard on them. Now, you take a fish like crappie, for instance. A crappie, people take out a lot of crappie out of the lakes and rivers too, just for consumption. But crappie reproduce very quickly. A crappie fry, a small crappie, to adult, it takes 3 years, 4 years for a crappie to reach maximum size. Like, so they can repopulate. Even the big fish can repopulate very quickly. Catfish take longer. Catfish take, I mean, to get a trophy-sized catfish, and it's debated on how long it takes, and certainly different bodies of water are going to be have faster growing. It's going to be easier to grow in some areas of the country than others, but still, it's going to take years and years and years to get a trophy-sized fish. You need at least 10 years to get a trophy quality fish. So if a lake or river gets a lot of pressure and a lot of those fish get killed or taken out, then it's hard to replace them. It's hard. Even if a lake's being stocked with catfish, it just takes so long to grow them that big. It's hard. It's very hard. So I don't have an answer to it. I don't. My answer for myself is kind of twofold. One, I've been using the light tackle gear more. That way, if I do catch a big fish, it's super fun. But if I don't catch big fish, if I just catch small fish, I'm still going to have fun with those too. I also, and thank God, I enjoy catching everything. Some of my most fun trips are taking my ultralight rod and gulp minnows and just catching whatever. If we see a day in my lifetime where you just can't hardly catch big fish anymore, and catfishing just goes to complete crap, and the fisheries in my area have, they're not what they used to be. I mean, you hear the old timers talk about the fish they used to catch versus now. It's a big difference. I've seen a big difference in my lifetime too. It's not as bad as some of them lets on, but it's not what it used to be. And I'll be first to admit that. But if we see a day and time in the future where the catfishing just sucks and it ain't worthwhile to do anymore, I'm still going to be able to go out and fish and have fun. Different species. I'll take the ultralight, or I'll take the Carp gear or whatever, but I'll go out and I'll have fun. I'll enjoy myself. even if I can't go catfishing. But it is disheartening. You know, this area has been doing so good lately, been catching such big fish. And so when you do come across a trot liner, and it ain't even somebody that's just running one trot line to feed the family, it's somebody who's running multiple trot lines from here all the way up around the bend, I mean a few miles worth, and it's going to take out every single fish they catch to go sell. Like, it's just, it's disheartening. It's very disheartening. That's all I can say about it, folks. It's disheartening. They're within their rights. They're within the law. It's just disheartening. I mean, technically, the big fish are supposed to be returned. Here in Tennessee, you're only supposed to be able to keep 1 over 34 inches per day. But who's going to enforce it? I mean, it's like posting the speed limit of 55 out here on the highway. If you got a cop setting every few miles, people are going to drive 55. If the cop's never set out there on the highway, people's going to do 70 or more, right? A law is only worthwhile if it's going to be enforced. So if there ain't no cops sitting out on the highway, people's going to break the law. They're going to speed. Same thing with these guys that sell fish. If you never see a game warden, and I never see them, they're like, around here, game wardens are like Bigfoot. It's the analogy I use, because you hear stories of their existence, but nobody's ever actually seen one. So if this fella here, you know, I'm not saying he is, he seemed like a nice guy, but let's say he pulls up his trot line and he's got a bunch of 34-inch fish on there. If he wanted to take them, who the hell would stop him? You think the fish market's going to not buy the fish? I doubt it. They're going to buy whatever. I mean, they're paying, I would assume they're paying per pound on them fish, right? So the more pounds of fish he can take to market, the more money he's going to make. They don't care about the size. The only people that care about the size of the fish is the game warden, who doesn't exist, at least allegedly. I just never see them. I know a lot of people want me to be, you know, when I use crappie for bait, man, people ride my ass over it. It's legal. Everything I'm doing is within the law. It pisses some people off. It pisses some YouTubers off, pisses other fishermen off. I've been reported to game wardens numerous times for using crappie for bait. Never got a ticket. Never got so much as a verbal warning. I had one YouTuber recently calling me a poacher. He's all over the internet calling me a poacher, which is quite honestly slander. It's defamatory, because I'm not poaching. I'm within the law. I've never had a ticket in my home state or any other state I hold a fishing license in. Like, I've never had any trouble with a fish and wildlife officer, ever. So to suggest I'm poaching is a very bold accusation. But, you know, I mean, but again, even if a person was breaking the law, who the hell's going to enforce it? It's like, I mean, it's just, and honestly, I don't really give a damn about it as far as from that, because one, if there were more game wardens out here and they were pestering the hell out of us all the time, license checks and all that, it would be a nuisance while we were on the water. And to have those extra game wardens, you would have to pay their salaries. Well, how are you going to do that? The state doesn't give money. The state of Tennessee doesn't, anyway, doesn't give money to TWRA. Their budget comes from fishing license sales. So if you're going to hire a bunch more game wardens and buy a bunch more boats for them to get out and patrol in, well, you're going to have to raise license fees in order to do that. Who the hell wants to pay more money for a fishing license? one could argue we shouldn't have to pay for a fishing license anyway. I mean, how did the government decide that they're going to be able to regulate a resource provided to us by God? You know, like that's, I mean, on one hand, it's like we kind of need regulations because otherwise humans will decimate a fish population or a game population. But on the other hand, it's like, should we have to pay for the right to go fishing? Like, that's an argument and a debate for another day. Pisses me off. I got to have a license for every state. I mean, I go down there to Alabama, had to buy a non-resident license. So it was like, I think it was $66 plus online fees. It ended up being like $70, I think. I had to pay for a fishing license, Alabama fishing license. And, you know, and I go to Ohio for one of them tournaments. I got to buy a license up there. You go to Louisiana, a license up there. You go to Florida, you got to buy 2 licenses. You got to buy a freshwater license and a saltwater license. Like they just, man, the damn government's got their hand in your pocket every which way you turn. Pisses me off, man. How long have we been at this now? Well, we've been at this over 3 hours. The wind's starting to blow now. It's starting to blow upriver here. I'm kind of pedaling into it. I've kind of lost hope today, y'all. Let me see where they're at back here. Yeah, they're up there. They're up there. Looks like they're up there about where we started at, up there at that creek now. I should have asked how many lines he had out. Like I know he said he had them, there's some marker down here and he had them up all the way around the bend, but like I'm curious how many individual lines and hooks per line does he have out in this area? I have to believe, I mean, it could just be I suck at fishing today, but if he's been running them lines all night and there's been a ton of bait, I mean, all them fish that are on his lines right now are fish that ain't gonna be biting ours. So I have to believe that's probably impacted us some. Maybe it hasn't, but I'm gonna blame it on that anyway. Damn. Well, at least we got one good fish. We got one good fish and a channel cat. I'm kind of discouraged though about it. It's disheartening. I'd hope this bite would last a little longer, but if he's gonna be in here taking as many as he can get, there ain't really nothing we can do about it. Just go find somewhere else. Go find an area. Let's hope, boy, here comes the wind now. That wind, buddy, when it turns on, it turns on. Yeah, folks, I think I'm gonna reel it up and just go ahead and get out of here. I was just gonna fish for 2 or 3 hours today till the wind started, and it looks like it's about to start. And at this point, I ain't got much hope or optimism that we're gonna do any better. We've seen a bunch of fish, but you know what I'm wondering now? You know, this is something I didn't think about until just now. But when we've come across the fish that we've seen on the graph, and of course I didn't know if they were cats or not, what if they were cats? And what if they were just attached to a trot line? Like that's possible. It's possible some of the fish we've come across down through here were literally attached to a damn trot line. What can you do? Well, folks, this has been a long damn video for 2 fish caught by us. Disappointing day. I knew it wasn't going to be a big numbers day. I didn't expect that coming out. I was thinking a few fish, a handful of fish, hopefully good quality fish. But still, to film a video 3+ hours and only have 2 fish in it is It's disappointing from me as a fisherman. It's disappointing for me as a content creator. Probably disappointing to you as an audience member if you've stayed this long in the video. But it is the reality of fishing, and these uncut, unedited videos are real fishing trips. And some days you own them and some days you not. Some days, you know, it's just how it is. That's the reality of fishing. It would be the same way if you were out here fishing with me today, we would have got what we got, you know? And so that's what I'm gonna do on these type of videos. You're gonna see it all, whether it's a good day, a bad day, a whatever day, and in between, like, you're gonna see it. I wanna bring you on a real fishing trip today. We'll sit out here, we'll catch fish if they're able to be caught. We'll talk about life and try to solve the world's problems. We talked about a lot of problems today. Unfortunately, I don't think we solved any of them, but we talked about them. But yeah, y'all, I think I'm gonna head out of here. The wind is starting to kick up. I've lost hope we're gonna do any better. And I'm gonna go regroup. Got some bait left. If I can get out tomorrow, I'll wake up in the morning, I'll see what the wind is doing. If I can get out, we'll go somewhere. Not here. We'll try somewhere else tomorrow, or the next trip when I am able to get out if the wind is bad tomorrow. But it is what it is, y'all. Thanks for coming with me. I'll see you next time.